What is up, guys? Welcome back to.
EmoséwA live.
So, unfortunately, that was not the pronunciation of the brand.
I told you I was going to butcher it.
But I mean, it was a nice attempt. Welcome back to EmoséwA Live. I am the bad guy, Nick H. The
I
H
am.
is silent. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I'm new at this, so H is silent. I'm Juan, by the way. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah. Let's see. What do I want to start off with? What's a good question? The thing is, I remember you telling me that you already had like an interview, so to say, like on over the phone, right?
Yeah, we've done some interviews, and I've done a few interviews over the phone, and we pretty much usually just ask everybody that we talk to, what kind of business or what kind of stuff they're getting into, and it's been directors, actors, independent actor, but it was still pretty fun to see what kind of commercials he's been in.
Um, Thing is, I don't want to be see we're too repetitive with these questions. Um, we'll start off with the how'd you get to how'd you get started in the whole Cinnamon movie podcast?
Man, this podcast literally came from the stuff you see behind me. I'm a huge physical media collector, huge Blu-ray, DVD, movie collector, and I was like, surely there's got to be a reason behind this madness. I can't just go and buy something and not never open it or never watch it for like it'll sit and collect dust for years before I even think about watching it sometimes. So I've always been into podcasts, different kinds, movies, sports, wrestling, and you know, my one of my biggest dreams was to kind of like own or run like a kind of like a blockbuster back in the day. Obviously, that idea is long gone because it's a really a dead brand kind of unless you find some
Sadly,
physical unless you find some physical media guys out there. Um, Nick, I think you're kind of a big physical media collector as well. I've seen some of your posts on your Halloween movies and stuff, and I don't know, something about physical media to me is just going on the hunt, looking for it, finding it, knowing that you own it and you have it. Some of these streaming sites out there, um, Netflix, Amazon. Some of the movies are edited. Some of them just aren't even up on streaming sites at all. So the whole really idea behind me starting a podcast was uh, all these movies behind me. I was like, let's see what I can't do with it. So let me take my addiction and put it on a platform to where I can talk to somebody about it. So me and my cousin one day we were like, you want to do it with me? And I was like, we got to have full commitment. I don't want to go in this thing and just half-ass it or not even think about doing it here and there. I want to, full commit. And that's what we did. So I would say June 2018, we started thinking about it and what kind of movie should be the very first movie we talk about and how do you do a podcast? There's you can YouTube it, but I kind of wanted mine to sound a little bit different from everybody else's, but at the end of the day, it's still a podcast, so it's going to sound some close to some people's. Um, so that's really the idea of why I wanted to start one.
cool. So June 8th, 2018. I'm not really too sure the exact time we started. I mean, it was the year 2018 though, so you're all like around the same year as us, so it's pretty interesting.
And then our first, I would probably say, our very first episode was in September. It was the first week of September was when we took three tries, and on that fourth try we ended up liking kind of what we heard, and we kind of just published it. And over the past 3.5 years, uh, everything's gotten bigger, better sounding. Sounds a little bit more. We talked about it before we start going. Was everything sounds a little bit more rehearsed, even though we still don't kind of rehearse anything. So
Just had that professional voices.
sometimes it's not all professional.
Mm. Um, so you said like September was whenever you started getting going.
Yeah, September we started getting going, and funny enough, we didn't want to do horror movies. We opened up with horror movies because we started in September and October, but we were like, at first, I was like I'm a big like sci-fi action nerd. So like my very first thought was I want to talk about RoboCop. RoboCop is like it's really different. It's sci-fi-ish, but yet like I don't know if for everybody out there, spoiler alert, when Murphy dies and he gets like blown to smithereens, it's like it's kind of dark and gruesome. You see his body parts just hanging everywhere. And I wanted to talk about that movie for the very first episode, but something drawed us to Psycho, and we ended up talking about Psycho, and that the rest is just one after another. I think episode 2 was like The Shining. Episode 3 was, I can't remember, like maybe Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something. But we did horror movies for the first 2 months, and then we kind of felt like we were getting a little burnt out, and we
Hey
took
Juan,
yeah.
not to my sound thing have kind of went out, so I'm gonna have to try to fix up with it. Let's see, audio wired.
Is it mine? Can you hear me?
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. I think is he there?
Yo.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. My thing was like starting to get all these stories like not now. So that's the one thing about live. Not necessarily doesn't happen to everyone, but there'll be some technical difficulties.
Always. You're a
Um,
wrestling fan. You know what can happen when you go live?
you don't mind I don't kind of
What's the
want to
last
say
thing
that.
you heard? Now I'll go from there. Or we can completely restart and talk about something different. We can talk about something
um,
different. How was the
so
weather?
you were talking about RoboCop and then the whole spoiler thing.
Oh, that was pretty far back. Uh, so yeah,
Oh
I
shit.
mean, so I wanted to do RoboCop for the very first episode of our podcast, but it didn't work out very good. So we did Psycho, and then we did a bunch of horror movies for the next 2 months until the first week in November. And then we kind of felt like we were getting just a little burnt out, and we didn't want to just continue to talk about horror movies if we didn't have the passion to talk about it. So we ended up just doing a bunch of different movies every week after that, and occasionally we'll touch on some horror movies if it's something big coming out, or if it's like sometimes for the whole month of October. Sometimes we'll talk about nothing but horror movies, but uh, other than that, man, yeah, it's kind of that's how the love of podcasting started for me, was kind of just collecting everything back there, just collecting movies and having my love for film. I'm a huge football fan as well, and I even played around with like maybe I should do like a football podcast, and that only lasted like 2 episodes, and I was like, yeah, there's no way I have time for this.
Cool. I think I was gonna say like, because the whole December thing. That was an issue when we started our Wrestling Tacos podcast. Because we would cover stuff like off of like mainstream, like dissect a show by show. It was a podcast I did with Alfredo, right?
Oh yeah, Alfredo. I've heard of him. He's a pretty cool guy.
So I think he's told me before, but I honestly forgot. When did you first meet Alfredo?
Uh, I think it was when I was listening to wrestling, uh, the Wrestling with Tacos podcast, and I did speaking of that, I did just get done watching the Killer Cross interview you guys did a few years ago, and I still got to say that's like one of the best interviews that I've probably seen, where he's yelling at the locker room that's behind him. He's like, "Hey, shut up! I can't hear anybody." And then he goes on and says, "If there's no tacos, I don't want to be a part of it."
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious that he makes that. He says that there's no tacos. I don't want to part in it. And how our show started off was that we would eat breakfast tacos in the morning while talking about wrestling. Or at least Franco was. Alfredo was talking about wrestling.
Alfredo, a little Alfredo sauce maybe on the on the tacos.
um,
But that's
but
how I originally heard and got started with Alfredo was the wrestling podcast. And at the time, I wasn't really. I'd always been big into wrestling, man. But there's been a few years where I've like haven't really touched in the mainstream, and sadly, last year and this year has been one of those years. I still know what's going on, but I just haven't been like a diehard weekly watcher since probably maybe 2017. 2016 was a really good year as far as like some WWE stuff.
2016, you said?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's whenever
that's when
the
Kevin
split
Owens had his
happened.
run. Yeah, the split.
Yeah, the when SmackDown Live. That was pretty cool year. I think that's when I started enjoying it, and then the later on years it started going downhill slowly.
But thanks to the wrestling podcast, when you guys did dissect it, like per the big shows, and I think you guys used to dissect like the Raws and Smackdowns and stuff too, right?
Raw, SmackDown, NXT. I
Yeah.
think Impact. I could be wrong. I mean, Alfredo wanted to experiment in different territories. Um, but going off of the podcast, I mean, I just me saying my apologies. I did not. I feel like I didn't give my full on. All my best in the podcast because there was times where I just not feel inspired at all. Like some of the stuff was not really all that interesting to me. So most of the time I'm just quiet or I forget things. I'm like, ugh. So Alfredo, God. um, so Alfredo, he would have his notes on his iPod and he would run down through the segments, like what happened, and it'll be hilarious because he would try to pass it out to me like, "Oh, did you want to take this one?" Like, "Oh," I was like, I'll be like, "Is
That's
it?"
one of the tough things. Yeah, like I mean, life and the outside world. Sometimes you get so exhausted, and sometimes you forget what you're talking about. And then, but that's a good thing. I don't know if has it been. Do you guys do a lot of in person stuff, or is it one of the good things about for what I do is like when we do in person, a lot of times people can't see us, so I'm like doing my hand signals, all kinds of stuff. I'm like, my mouth is drying out. I need somebody else to talk.
Like in person, like
Like, have you guys ever done any of your shows like in person with each other?
like the podcast,
Yeah, like I think you guys did. You used to do the Friday the 14th like together, right? Like
um,
like at a
like on the
like at a
actual table.
yeah.
So the Resin Tacos podcast, and there was another podcast that was called Population, which was a podcast I created. It was about collecting stuff. So there was those two shows. Yeah, I used to live with Alfredo back in 2017, I think 18 time around that time,
Nice.
and we would do a bunch of content together because we lived together. um, but whenever the Friday 14th thing happened, me and Alfredo moved away from each other, and Alfredo was living somewhere in we live in out here in Corpus, so he was living somewhere else, and the Friday the 14th thing he would do with the first it started out with the co-host Manny Fresh, so it was them two, and then Fuentes, which you're familiar with.
Oh yeah.
um, he self-invited himself to be on to the podcast.
With you guys and Antonio, right? Or Alfredo.
Alfredo.
Yeah, right. I don't know why I kept wanting to say Antonio.
It sounds right though. I beat Alfredo. um. So yeah, it started out with them. They got together. There's a video you can see. Like it's a skit we did. I wasn't involved with it, but it was called Mr. Fuentes stays fresh. And it was about him. Uh, like you're not supposed to see him without the blazer. His whole thing is he wears blazers and all that. And they're like, oh, they're trying to catch him without it. It's a weird skit, but I mean, but in the beginning of that skit, you'll see them. That's how they would record. They'll record like in a small table.
Yeah, some of those Friday the 14th skits that you guys have, like where you're outside with those Jason and Freddy masks. Like the first thing I imagine is like they're in Texas. It's got to be hotter than hell under that mask. Like there's no way I would be able to do that.
Yeah, the Texas weather is real random. I mean, when it's supposed to be cold, it's hot. It's just random. I think, I mean, the outside, I would say it wasn't that bad because we would try to record in like when there was like shade or whatever, like wind was blowing, whatever. But I mean, the Jason and Michael Myers, they were played by someone who just does like the cosplay of them, or they shoot their own videos,
Oh,
so they
nice.
weren't really
It wasn't
involved
you
with our
guys that
brand.
are okay.
But as far as the Freddy, that was played by me.
So, uh, you guys have been doing the Friday the 14th for a while. Like the and I mean, if we just start doing some random stuff, I apologize because this is really like the first time that we really have gotten to like hang out and just talk. You know, we've always been on each other's shows as far as like plugging stuff and talking about each other, but never really a one-on-one conversation really.
Yes, yeah, it's the first time. Like it's funny. I mean, to think about that. I mean, we've only ever mentioned each other's like pods and whatever the names.
Been going on for like
It's
almost a year, I
never
think.
we've never actually had a conversation. We had like I remember you hit me up asking for like the top five like horror movies.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Um, but yeah, it's just what the whole I mean. Like as soon as I got the stream going on, I was already a few episodes in, and I was like, you know what? Why not get the guy that we always referred to on Friday the 14th? Let's hear his backstory. It just only
Yeah,
made sense.
it was no thanks. I'm enjoying being on here, and it's hopefully it's like a lot of like now that you know we've at least started this roller coaster. Hopefully it's something that we can do more of with the new year coming up.
Yeah. Where was I at? Because we kind of just ended off on the Friday the 14th topic. So I did start off with like that little advertisement video, whatever skit, advertising for what Friday the 14th was gonna be. Um, so initially the whole year goes by, I think, or at least it was gonna be almost a year. It was just them three, and then I was asked if I wanted to join on, which it's pretty hilarious because I mean it's known by Alfredo that I'm a horror fan, but I
I don't
mean he had told me that he initially wanted to get me on. It's just I don't know
is that secretly what the H stands for?
what's the H stand for.
Yeah, is that you know horror?
The bad guy Nick H horror.
Yeah, there we go.
The bad guy Nick horror.
You kind of keep that. You really keep that H silent. Nobody knows what it is.
Well, here's the hilarious part is the stream before you. I
You
I
did
went
you?
out and just said it.
Oh,
I
great!
mean
That
that
show.
stream was 3.5 hours. I don't know if a lot of people even wanted to to stay for that long, but I mean
That was the second one you've done though, right?
the third
Or
one.
the third one?
Yeah, it was Freddie from JF Elite. He's a really cool dude.
And then these, where can they find this one at? Like, is this going to end up being this is live on YouTube, right? Or
Yeah, this is just straight up live on here on the EmoséwA Productions channel.
there we go. So you said it. You said it nice. You said it the way it was supposed to be said.
Sounds nice. Eh? So that's how no, but, um lost my train of thought real quick. Where was I? What was I talking about?
Wrestling, the wrestling podcast. We kind of just went off our own separate track, but you asked how I started talking and hanging out, or not really hanging out, but talking with Alfredo, Alfranco, or Alfredo.
So yeah, that's where it started out. The whole Alfredo, the how it all began. But as far as Friday the 14th, yeah, I got on, and then you threw you threw me a little curveball, and it threw me off. Well, not really a curveball, but you asked, was that the reason why the H side
Oh yeah,
it
yeah.
stands for horror? So that's kind of one of the things I wanted to ask you. Like, what do you think the H actually stands for? And I guess you already threw that in there.
Uh, if I had to take a wild guess without knowing, I would play around and be like maybe Halloween, or you always have the Halloween throw behind you, where it could stand for maybe a last name, a middle name, um, a uh, a an alias. I don't know.
So I don't know. I want to keep giving it out each stream, or but just to go in, I mean, I guess I'm just gonna have people guess like what the H actually stands for, and then I'll just go and reveal it anyway. It's not
Yeah.
really that big, but I mean, you did kind of guess it though. You said it would more likely have to do with the name. So my last name is Herrera, but the H is actually silent when you say Herrera.
So it really is silent.
It is silent.
That
So
should be a T-shirt.
you hear more of the E. Also on my full name, because my actual full name is Nicholas, and it's not really just Nick. The H is also silent in Nicholas.
So that's some background. That's some backstory right there. Exclusive.
Exclusive here. I think I made, I don't know. I don't really remember any other like big podcasts that I mentioned it. I just know I mentioned it from the last stream and then this stream.
It's following you. Watch, you'll have to mention on the next one too.
I had to mention just because I said, what do you think the H just what does it stand for?
Yeah.
I mean, it like on Friday the 14th, I always try to make there was a few episodes I try to make like like an ongoing gag like this stands for like the H stands for hefty, or like H stands for I don't know. I was trying to make it a thing that it was just like it's kind of different meanings.
Every week it should mean something different.
Yeah, I mean just to keep the whole thing going, even though I already gave out the true meaning of it.
Yeah. No, I get that. That's kind of makes podcasts a little fun. Having like special names for things or people, or just segments. Segments has kind of been a hard thing for me to bring in something new, but I've only got like one or two, and it's it is what it is, I guess.
So I kind of got your like a little of the backstory. It started you off with you and your cousin. When did the other two start joining in?
Yeah, now there's four of us. And randomly Zach, he randomly appeared by there's my podcast phone number is on the Facebook page. So I guess he was like, I've always wanted to start a podcast. Let me call this number and see if they're hiring, I guess.
Wow.
Little did he know, yeah, he's still not fucking getting paid. Um, but little did he know that he worked with my cousin at a movie theater here in Oklahoma City. So that's why he called the number, because he thought he would pick up. But I picked up, and we ended up having like a 30-minute conversation about just movies. And I was like, might be pretty interesting. He kind of knows his stuff. He goes to the movies a lot. He is also a physical media collector. So uh yeah, that's kind of how he got involved, was randomly just calling that number. And he didn't know who was going to pick up on the other end. I thought that was pretty funny. Um, and he joined us in like November 2018, so just a few months after we started, and he's still going strong with us. And then Craig, um, he is like a diehard football fan, so he likes movies and film, and he's a big Marvel fan, so Star Wars too. So I've known him since I was literally like probably 5 years old. Um, he still sometimes gets a little salty about why he didn't really start the podcast with me. And at the time, he had just gotten a brand new baby, brand new house, brand new wife. So I kind of didn't really ask him because I was like, man, you got a lot on your plate already. I'm gonna ask Edward over here, who he don't have really nothing going for him. So I'm gonna ask him and see if he might have a little bit more time. But that's how we all four just intertwined. And there's been some episodes where we it sounds like we're yelling and screaming at each other because we don't you know the reviews are a little bit different, but I really think that those are some of our most fun episodes. And I was gonna see what you thought, being on a podcast with multiple people. Um, the ones where you all agree on one thing is sometimes those are fun, but when everybody disagrees about something, do you guys ever have you guys ever gotten a little heated while you're trying to record an episode? Or
You know, well, as far as my hat, I mean, I'm always like a person who's not really like I don't know. I don't see myself as that much of a debatable person. So whenever like you'll make mention, and I just kind of just laugh about it, like oh, for some of the reasons, like how Fuentes does. He's real like it's all about the effects and everything. And he'll just like kind of start nitpicking at things. I'm like, okay.
I think that's how I am sometimes. I'll nitpick, and I don't know, man. I don't know if it's because I was I was a drama nerd, or I did film. I was in film class. I just sometimes I nitpick. Sometimes I'm just like, you got to go in with an open mind and just have fun with the movie. It just depends.
I'd say there was almost at one point, this what I mean, the direction it wasn't really it didn't get it almost got me to try to go on to a debate, but because we had this Friday the 14th, it it was a day that was Friday the 14th, and I came up with the idea we should do like a live special, and it would be like a thing to look back on the movies we reviewed. Um, Initially, the hilarious part is I wanted to just have it with me and Alfredo, but I mean, it only made sense to have the other guys jump on too. Um, but
Yeah, that sounds
Fuentes
fun.
Fuentes and Alfredo weren't really big fans of The Shining, the Stanley Kubrick Shining.
What?
They so Alfredo's whole thing was that I don't know, I guess that was too long and he couldn't get into it. That he
It's
fell asleep like the first viewing, and he said he tried to do it again. He just couldn't get into it.
it is pretty girthy.
And then Fuentes, I think he didn't like the sounding of how it fit into some parts, or like I don't know, I guess some of the reactions. And but anyways, like when we got back to that the topic on the stream, or Tom, like, do you have like any change of ratings? Did you have a change of heart or something like that? Because we're like going back through the movies. Have you rewatched it? And then Fuentes, I forgot what I even said, to be honest. Because he said something like, "Oh, so well, what do you like the movie so much?"
That's a pretty fun topic of conversation. Some of those older movies that a lot of people like, those are really hit or miss. Like some people can, do some of the older ones. Some can't. I mean, I think it's just because of the pacing. They're just some of them are so slow, and there's some that are like black and white, and there's some that are like silent. It's
Stage
just
silent.
yeah. You got to be in the mood almost. Forget Netflix and chill. You got to be in the mood to watch some of these older movies, man. Do you ever feel that way? Like there's a movie that you like, but like for some reason the day you're watching it just isn't you just can't get into it.
Yeah, there's times where I mean I'll put on a movie, and then I mean it just depends if I'm messaging someone, or there's things in my mind that I'll just kind of get distracted.
Yeah, it's
But
tough.
there's a lot. I mean, for the most part, I'd say I mean I do kind of just go through the whole movie actually. Um, but I mean I think they're like Fuentes was mentioning like something about that it wasn't living up to it. Like there's so much hype around the movie, and yeah, something like that. Like my whole thing was like, oh, but even then, like. I watched the movie when I was a kid, like with very little to understanding of what the movie was even actually about, and I mean, it it was like back in the '80s. I mean, if you didn't grow up with watching those type of movies, and you're like if you're trying to get into horror and you're watching them like the current stuff, it's kind of hard to watch that type of stuff and then go back into the older stuff.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Um, yeah, some of the older stuff can be kind of rough, but I,
But
I
since
think
I
I
was
think it's
exposed to that, yeah.
I think yeah. I mean, same thing with me. Like, man, I for some reason my parents let a 6-year-old watch Friday the 13th and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, and yeah, I I'm over here 6 years old watching this shit, and I grew up on it, so it's always entertaining, and some of those Friday the 13th movies to this day, like right now, they're kind of rough to watch, but I mean, I still enjoy some of the campiness of them. So just probably because I grew up on them, though.
Yeah. So since we're kind of going into the whole horror topics, what is your favorite franchise
Oof.
as far as the horror?
Uh, Man, it's kind of hard because every film is different. Some franchises are like I don't know, like Friday 13th is pretty girthy. There's a lot of movies in that franchise, but how many of them are really, really good? If I had to pick, man, I mean, I think we'd probably agree. You seem like you're a Halloween guy yourself. I would probably have to say Halloween, just because even what is there? Even the some of the bad Halloweens are still kind of decent, and I can still sit through them, and they're not like overly long. The acting isn't terrible unless you watch Resurrections. I don't know.
Resurrection, don't speak of
Yeah,
that one.
we don't speak of that one either. I was actually going to do a YouTube live video and do a burning of Resurrections, like just burn it and put it on the ground.
Oh boy.
But I
Was it at
love
least gonna be like a DVD copy?
no, it's Blu-ray. But unfortunately, I love my physical media so much that I still don't even want to burn that one.
It's like, yeah. It's like despite not liking the movie at all, it you still need that movie to do complete your collection.
Yeah, so like I would probably say Halloween, man. Or you'd probably agree with the same, right?
Yeah. So big giveaway with my the background had the like it's pretty dark in my room, Matt. But there is more stuff of Michael Myers pretty much um it's like my room's covered with a bunch of stuff. Like if you were to walk in my room, it's like this guy's definitely a big nerd.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with collecting pictures and posters and movies. Yeah, Halloween's got a special place in my heart. I think it's just because at the fine ripe age of 5, I watched the first one and completely scared the shit out of myself. So
Um so the first one would be like your favorite one, the
uh,
original.
yeah. I don't think you can. There's some that probably match the feeling, but the original Halloween is it's classic, man. It goes by so fast. The characters, Jamie Lee Curtis is so iconic for that movie. Her scream, the mask, some of the kills. You don't see that much blood really in the movie, so when you do, it's kind of like whoa, especially for back in the '70s. Not to mention that it only took like $50 to make this movie, and it ended up making like a shit ton of money. So when you see some of the background stuff, it's really an inspiration to a lot of filmmakers, and um, that's a great movie, man. If I had to pick a close second, um, I get knocked for this one a lot because people are in love with the 2018 one, but I really enjoy Halloween 2. Where it takes place on the same night. I think that one is super super underrated.
Yeah, I mean, uh, I do love the whole like you can just like make an edit kind of and then those movies would just mesh together. Besides the mask, I mean, it's the same mask, but I mean, it's just that it kind of got weirdly shaped
Yeah,
because I think it was that what they say like it was kept under a bed or something like that. Like person who had it would smoked a lot. Uh,
I yeah. I was for the first time this year. I found out that they use like 4 or 5 masks for H2O. And when I found that out, I'm like, why would you do that? That's the very first one I think that they show in the first H2O, the very first scene you see him, and I was like, I think that one's perfect. Just use that one for the rest of the movie. But for I don't know, but yeah,
then there's this CGI mask.
oh yeah, that was awful. It looked like I was waiting for a tongue to come out or for his nostrils for him to do the people's eyebrow or something. Yeah,
So I mean, for me, I had to go with the original as an grown up now, but whatever. But when I was growing up as a kid, for nostalgic purposes, it was 4 and 5 because those were the movies that would always show like on AMC.
yep.
But there's nothing wrong with them. But
No,
just
no.
that as far as currently, yeah, I'd say the first one is my favorite one.
What about since we're finally here, what are your true thoughts on three?
Season of the Witch.
Yeah, I gotta ask you.
Well, like first coming across it, it was like just like anyone else, whoever tuned in to see Season of the Witch, they were expecting a Michael Myers. You see Michael Myers, but he's on the TV.
Yeah,
It's like, what's going on here? It's real. I guess you can say meta. Would be the term for it.
the meta. Yeah, the meta of Michael.
It's like this. You're watching Halloween in a Halloween film. Um, I didn't know what to think honestly. I think maybe it was more around my teenage years because I would start collecting the movies with by DVD. So given that one to watch, I just really didn't have an opinion on it. I guess over the years, I understood what it was. It was intended to be a part of an anthology going forward. Sure, you just take away the name Halloween and just purely name it Seasons of the Witch, it would have done better.
Oh yeah,
I
I
do
totally
believe
agree.
I do believe that the cult classic, whatever, like it, during that time, it could fit in that like just as a standalone movie. I enjoy it just just for like the sake of saying like there's Michael Myers. It's not really up there since but if I look at it by itself, it's a pretty cool movie.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think if you don't mention anything about Halloween or Michael, it's pretty fun. Um, what do you think? You think they might do that after Halloween Kills? Do you think they would do that? Try to do that again,
Well, I saw
or
members
Halloween
saying
Ends?
as far as the mentionings, or because in 2018 in Halloween Kills, they show the mask twice, but it is in the same night, so I don't know if it technically counts as two different movies. But I remember seeing, I think it was an article or I don't know, somewhere, but that David Gordon Green was interested in stepping in on the season of the witch storyline.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. I wouldn't. I would go see it.
I mean, I could imagine it like someone trying to make it canon into the series, like this could happen in this universe. The mask would see, it would have been hilarious at the because Michael puts the mask on top of the bodies in Halloween Kills, and then like it just like you start seeing like the bugs, the worms coming out and everything.
Oh yeah, that would. It's different. I wouldn't mind them trying to bring that back and maybe touching it in some way. But
Um, do you have a favorite slasher
slasher, like just character.
or overall horror icon character? Yeah.
Taking Michael out of the equation, I would probably say, hmm, I like the ghost face concept. I like the character and just the way how he's a little different. But man, after seeing Candyman this year, I'm gonna have to probably say, Candyman is somebody who hasn't been touched on quite a bit. They did him. He had a really good first start movie, and then he kind of had some fall off sequels in the '90s. But the way they reimagined him this past year with this new movie. Man, Candyman is he can be a pretty creepy character. So I would throw him in there as like a wild card if I couldn't mention some of the classic iconic ones. Even though people's gonna be like Candyman, he's fucking iconic. I'm like, yeah, but I feel like he's been forgotten about.
Tony Todd, or
Yeah,
just the character overall.
I think just the character, especially the way they did it this past movie, to where almost like anybody could be Candyman.
Hmm. Was that a spoiler?
No, go back and go check it out. It's at the Red Box.
It's a big yeah, I still haven't seen the new one yet.
No, that's not a spoiler.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay,
a.
okay.
I was gonna cut a Paul Heyman line, but I didn't want to do that.
Why even like it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler.
What about that? You want to talk? You want to talk anything about some recent WWE stuff?
Um,
What are your thoughts? Are you watching currently, or how do you feel about some of the current WWE stuff? And I
as
only
far
mentioned
as
WWE because I'm not really caught up with any of the other stuff.
as far as like the main stuff, like Raw and SmackDown, I mainly keep up like what the like because I follow the like most of everyone's like Instagram accounts, or I'm always on YouTube, so I'm mainly just catching like
Like highlights.
highlights. I haven't really been fully watching it. Whenever I would watch the stuff, I would use YouTube TV to watch the stuff, but then I kind of ran low on money, so I had to cancel it and just continue watching highlights of stuff. But as far as like WWE in its entirety, the last thing I actually saw was War Games.
War Games was pretty good.
Um, yeah,
I didn't. Yeah, it was pretty good.
the main reason why I really wanted to watch the review is because it was gonna be more. I assume it's gonna be Johnny Gargano's last appearance on NXT.
Do
There
you,
may be a chance that he could come back though.
so with that, like I saw that. I didn't. I watched the match, but I didn't like. I didn't watch the following Tuesday's NXT, or I didn't. I've kind of been trying to stay away from like some of the dirt sheets, if you want to call him that. But do you think he's like done with the company, or do you think he's just going to be like in the Royal Rumble match?
The thing is, like watching his emotion, because I saw the on YouTube, whatever, and then the pictures like I mean, you can't really be that emotional if you're gonna. I mean, if you get called to main roster, because you'll still be around the same fans or whatever. I mean, even same could be said about AEW, whatever. Um, because to make it seem like, because his whole thing is he wants to step aside and be around for his child when the child's born. Um, but the way I see it, I mean, I feel like he's not gonna stick around for WWE
Makes
because
sense.
he really did show a lot of emotion, like he was leaving.
Yeah, I saw that they. I don't know. I've kind of been. I think some of the stuff they're doing is pretty cool, but there's some stuff I'm looking at. I'm just like, it looks terrible. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, we can talk about Baxter wrestling. Yeah, I've been a fan for a super long time, but I feel kind of just. It's like that old saying: when your son does something wrong, you're not angry at him, you're just disappointed. Like that's how I feel with WWE sometimes. I'm like, I want to keep watching, but sometimes I'm just disappointed.
See, WWE shoots himself in their foot a lot, and I they know their quality is not really there. I mean, they're making a lot of money to a point where like they really don't care what they put out.
Oh yeah, that's not cool though.
It's like, and then releasing like a lot of like big stars that like it's like just purpose. I mean, so whatever we don't um yeah, with the WWE, I don't really be keeping up. as much. But I mean, as far as like going back to like becoming a fan of it, I did catch like glimpses of it, like because I'm pretty young myself. I was born in '95, so anything I started watching was like I missed the Attitude Era, but I caught glimpses of it. That was mainly my older brothers that would watch that. Whenever I did become a fan of WWE, like a truly a fan or whatever, it was like '06, '07, that like the ruthless aggression era type.
Oh yeah, that was a good that was I think that was a super overlooked era. To me, like I grew up, I started watching around 94, 95, and the Attitude Era was cool, but some people forget that the Attitude Era also had a lot of crappy matches, also had a lot of crappy stars in its own right. Uh, I like the Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah, because whenever I started, like I picked up from the '06, '07. I mean, the early on in the ruthless aggression, like whenever John Cena and Brock Lesnar and all of them were coming up. I didn't watch it, but I mean I would play like the games like Raw 2,
Oh yeah,
and there would be like different games like WrestleMania 21. So I knew of who the wrestlers were like around that time. I just didn't watch it during that time. Like I mean they had Evolution and all that.
yeah. Now that they've released so many wrestlers, it's like their next game is gonna have like 9 people on it. It's like
Yeah,
WWE 2K22. Literally, there's 22 people in the game.
they're just gonna have to bring up the whole NXT roster on there, or
Yeah,
even the developmental people.
yeah,
Like speaking of like wrestling games, whatever. AEW, what the hell are they gonna do? Because each there's like most of the time there's always a new wrestler added on. I mean, are just gonna some be so more? They're just gonna have to do DLCs.
man. I was thinking about stuff like that. I'm like, I wonder how come WWE doesn't just come out with a game and do like some DLCs every few months, like kind of like how Grand Theft Auto has done. They've made Grand Theft Auto 5 last for like 15 years already. So I'm like,
Oh man,
how come a WWE or maybe AEW will go that route where they'll create one game and then every 6 months or so they'll just patch it up and add somebody new. Because yeah, AEW's adding they're adding everybody. That roster is going to be like it's going to be huge. Jeff Hardy will be there 2 weeks probably.
in 2 weeks,
Yeah, probably.
that was it. Like he that because he didn't want to go to like to get help. Was that
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's like straight up like I don't need it. um, yeah, I mean AEW like I started getting back into it whenever CM Punk made his return. But like, cause the main reason I started watching AEW is because I'm really big on Kenny Omega. He's one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
He was putting in some work, man. He was having some unbelievable matches. I don't follow up with the company, but I do, at least watch some of his matches. I used to follow him really big in New Japan, but now it's like, and CM Punk brought a lot of eyes on, man. It made me tune in for a few weeks, but then they did like he's doing some random like feuds with like Team Taz or whatever, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You got CM Punk, and he's feuding with like Taz Jr. Uh, I don't know. I think WWE gets thrown under the bus so much, but AEW is also doing some stuff, where you got to like turn your head sometimes too.
Yeah, cause yeah, CM Punk just like he just wanted to. I mean, he wants to work with all the up and coming guys, whatever, like the young stars. Before like he wants to go with like world title picture. Not, but Brian Danielson's the whole complete opposite. He wants to go straight to the top. So I want to challenge. He means he straight up challenged Omega like right away.
And then he's isn't he already like he's like doing his heel gimmick right now, isn't
Brian,
he? Yeah.
I haven't really cause whenever I stopped uh paying for YouTube TV, I kind of got lost.
That's
I just
another
been
thing.
made it's been mainly keeping up with like the CM Punk stuff.
I read something that AEW is going to merge with Warner Brothers and HBO Max and have like their own streaming service on HBO Max. I heard. I'm like, you should. That way, more people can watch you. Nobody watches like cable anymore. You know, who really has? I have. I tried out YouTube TV, and it's like 70, $80 a month, $65 a month, and I'm like, I watch two or three channels. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. I think streaming is just really the way to go. And I'm just like, if you want more eyes on your product, put it on HBO Max. Everybody almost has HBO Max.
Yeah. I have like most of the streaming platforms and all that. I was like,
What about?
maybe there should be a point where I just kind of cut some stuff out. I don't need to be spending 100 plus stuff on stuff.
I cut out Netflix, man. Netflix went up again like a few months ago, and I'm like, with how much stuff I collect and buy, I'm like, I really don't need Netflix.
I noticed that well, most of your Blu-rays are all here, like America releases. I was wondering if you had like some of the UK stuff, or if you have a region-free Blu-ray player or something.
I do. I'm so psycho with physical media that I had me, and I'm a huge A24 fan too. So there's a few A24 movies that were not released in the United States. So I bought me like two or three of them. Waited like 3.5 weeks so they could ship halfway across the fucking world and shit. And when they finally got here, my dumbass did not think about getting uh, region free Blu-ray player. So I'm like, man, I gotta find me one. So I went to Best Buy. I old school, man. I went to every single electronic place around me. I was like, oh, nobody sells a region free Blu-ray player here in Oklahoma City, so I'm gonna have to get on Amazon. So I got on Amazon, found one, and yeah, uh, I feel like the quality is not as good with this region free player. I don't know if it's because it came from halfway across the country, but uh, it's weird, man. You gotta hit one button and hold it down for 3 seconds to play region A and B, which is United States, Mexico, and Canada, I think. And then you gotta hold down another button for like region C, which is anything else. So um, if it's really out there and I want to watch it, I just find the joy in going out and hunting for something, even though it's literally probably at my fingertips with streaming. Um, I don't know. I still find some kind of joy because they took Blockbuster away from me, man. They took Blockbuster away. All those rental videos. We still have like some vintage stocks here, but yeah, instead of why pay $4.99 to rent it when I could probably go out and get it for $7, and I have the actual physical copy with me, and nobody's ever going to take that away.
Yeah. What brand is your player?
It is a LG.
LG. I think well, mine is LG. But the way you're saying like the method of how to getting it started sounded very like different from mine. Was like more, I don't know, I guess more simpler because I mean I just like this tray is open, I guess it has to be open, and then you press the number on the remote, and I think thing just automatically turns off by itself and then restarts, and then
Yeah, that's
that's it.
that's right. I just have to, for some reason though, on mine I have to hold down like the number one for one region and then two for another region.
Hmm. Yeah, think I had the player for like maybe a few months or so. And I mean, my whole reasoning of getting it was because I wanted to start collecting some of the UK stuff. Like um they have a lot of cool releases, and whenever they go like whenever they're like out selling, some of the stuff is pretty cheap. But
Yeah,
whenever they sell out of stock, it just their prices skyrocket. So it's one of those you gotta jump on it. But I mean, at the same time, because over here in America, like they only release so much stuff. Like there's some stuff like they don't release. Like I know out there like they have a Goosebumps complete series or something like that, or you know, there's other stuff that we just don't get here in America, and it's like, damn, that
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah. The I think it was a Germany edition of the Snyder Cut was released on 4K in a steelbook in Germany, and the steelbook over there looked way better than the Best Buy steelbook that you get here in the States. And I'm like, ugh, it was like 34.99, and the United States version I think was the same price, so it wasn't like I was just like, I think I'll wait. But yeah, they do come out with some different looking stuff.
Yeah, but I think recently, I mean, is it this month or it was like last month? I finally picked up my first movies like region that are like region B. Um, and it is I don't know if you can see but it's I know what you did last summer trilogy
Oh,
box set.
nice.
They do have a regular standard edition of it, but I wanted it because I love they have 'em individually cases.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the individual cases is what I go for. Yeah.
and yeah, their cases are like a lot thicker than the standard like usual. But
Are
this
you
is
are you are
by
so
company 88 Films.
the third one? You even got the third one on Blu-ray then, and a lot of people don't even know about the third one.
Yeah, has all of them like the trilogy.
Nice, nice. I've never honestly seen that one. I want to watch it one day, but I've never seen it.
Me either. Um, like I wanted to. There was that time like on Friday the 14th where we did the first one, and we had a. It kind of became a thing like we're just running through movies that were like set in the 90s, and then I think Fuentes kind of wanted to jump into the second movie, but we never did. I don't
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
movie broke the whole 90s thing off though.
I know you guys did a review on Urban Legend.
That one too. And the cool thing about that you mentioned it is I had got on eBay and I actually bought the Urban Legend trilogy that's very similar to this box set.
Nice. That's a really good. I like the way the front box looks too.
Yeah, it's all shiny.
Yeah,
It comes like there's some stuff in there like there's like poster or there's like some picture cards. There's like some exclusive interviews in there.
nice. You know
So I mean
when
that was like
I
the whole
was
thing. One of the main reasons why I wanted to get a Blu-ray. I mean, reason for everything.
one of the best things that would be awesome if it came with it was the little thing that makes noise from the first one. If that came in there, that you know how awesome that would be. What is that? You remember what you know what I'm talking about, right?
I'm
The guy
trying
in the
to
the guy
look
in the
back
overalls at the beginning of the first one.
the sound.
He has this like little coin looking thing, and he flips it and it does ding.
Yeah, I know the item. I was just trying to think of
I
like
don't.
the actual sound.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but that's pretty cool. I like those things. Uh, yeah, man. I like collecting, man. Collecting is pretty cool. It's it hurts the wallet sometimes, but you know, like I said, you're
Yeah.
sitting there and you're like, oh, people get, and I see it all the time. People get mad about when Netflix takes things off streaming, and I'm like, you know, who don't have to be mad about that? This guy. This guy doesn't have to be mad about that because even though, like, I have some shitty movies, man. I'm telling you, I got some shitty movies, but it's just there. Like, I'll reach behind me, random movie. I don't even know what it's gonna be. The Danish Girl. I've probably seen this movie one time, and I'll probably never watch it again in my life. But if it ever like becomes popular again, and if I want to watch it, it's right there. But because they always take stuff off of Netflix, and I'm like, yeah, that's nothing is more irritating than when you're in the mood to watch something and you can't find it.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Like here's another thing. You've probably already seen it before, but the VHS little box set kind of thing, where it has the Blu-ray and the physical VHS.
Oh yeah, that's a really good get, man. I've seen that multiple times, and for some reason, I've never pulled the trigger on it. But that's a really good get.
Like I had to get mine on it. Like the first one is nearly impossible to get your hands on. the as far as the VHS like tape. Um, the funny thing, like there's another collection I have. I don't know if you were ever into Mighty Morphin
Oh man,
Power
I
Rangers.
yes, the original ones. Yeah, I was a huge fan of. Yeah,
So I mean that's one of the collections I have. And the funny thing about like Netflix taking everything down, they did wipe out pretty much all the seasons they did at one point. They used to have. I have pretty much all the seasons.
nice.
There's like a couple like they stopped releasing them because they're under Hasbro now. Hasbro hasn't, they haven't gotten the ball of releasing stuff as far as DVD stuff.
Have they the set that you have? Is it the? Because I remember they came out with like the red Power Ranger helmet. You open up the helmet and it was like the discs.
I wish I had that one, but I mean, the way they're cased, I mean, doesn't really look. I don't know. I don't really like the way they're cased because I feel like it's just gonna slide out or something like that.
Yeah. I don't like those cases either because it's so easy to like scratch and if like you said they slide out. I'm a I'm a big Star Wars fan too, and like they came out with like this big massive 4K, Skywalker Saga Blu-ray set, and I didn't get it even though when it went on sale last year on Black Friday, I didn't get it because it's like everything is just like in slits, and I'm like I don't know, I like having each individual case, and I'm picky. Some people say I'm too picky, but
Um, yeah, there's just some releases like what they're cool, but what it's not really necessary that it needs to be released that way. Like I had the classic TMNT cartoon series where it's in the wagon, the discs are just placed in there. I was
oh
like,
man, yeah.
that's pretty horrible, but I mean it's cool at the same time because the damn thing moves. You can play with it. Just
The
like
man, I forgot what I was going to bring up, but it had more to do with some physical media. But yeah.
uh, I noticed that I mean, one of the questions I guess, do you know the exact amounts of movies you have? I mean, it seems
Oof.
like because there's when I see that you post on Instagram, it's like there's like how many like maybe one. I don't know how many posts a day, but there at least there is one a day. And I know that for sure. There might be more
Yeah.
though.
Yes. I mean, sometimes I watch like I try to get at least one watch a day just to feed you got any more than Blu-rays? But I try to get one watch in there a day. But the exact amount of how many physical media I have, I haven't counted in so long. I used to have this app on my phone, and you could scan the barcode, and it would keep a track of everything you have. Um, I used to work at a video store, so I used to do that for a living, and I'm like, man, I kind of don't want to do that right now. If I had to guess, though, probably 3,500 pieces, give or take. This is
Uh,
just a third of it too, by the way. I still have like more over in that area.
yeah, I don't think my
What about you?
collection's as big. I think one of the main reasons why I didn't start collecting because I wasn't really living at an actual place on my own. Um, that was kind of always a setback for me, like as far as collecting, because at one point I used to live with my mom, and there was very limited space on what I could collect. And then whenever I started moving out, I started just collecting a bunch of stuff. Either was DVDs or like I think most of my collection is DVDs. I barely transitioned to Blu-ray. Like I have not that many Blu-rays, and even the Blu-rays I have, they're like just made like sets or like compilations of stuff. Like I don't have like a bunch of um. And recently I started trying to build up my 4K collection. I'm like, I don't know, it's all over the place. I mean, like a lot of my DVDs are just like mainly like seasons of shows and old Nickelodeon Nicktoons, a lot
And
of the 90s cartoons.
even that though, even that's still like a good grab because now all those are I think are on Paramount Plus. And I'm like, if you have some Nickelodeon stuff, man, that's pretty cool and definitely worth holding on to because I'm like, I'm not paying for Paramount Plus too. Like, yeah, there's so many streaming services that are just popping up, man. It's just like I don't know. I don't have that many fingers to count all these streaming services.
Um,
What about you as far as like if you had to pick one piece of physical media that was like your prized possession, which one did you pick?
prized possession. Uh, that is that. I mean, it's a tough question. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff. I honestly no. That wasn't anything I ever thought of. It's not really. I mean, I wouldn't say it purely for like value wise, or I don't know.
Just something that you're like, yeah. I mean, it doesn't even have to be valuable. Just like, oh shit, a fire. One thing you had to grab, physical media wise.
Um, just to answer that question, I mean, because there is a lot of cool stuff, whatever I have, but I mean, it's just because it was one of my first like favorite movies of all time, like as a kid. I mean, it's not even like a Blu-ray copy or anything. It's just a regular standard DVD. But I mean, a Goofy movie is like one of my favorite movies of all time.
A goofy movie. I like it. You picked
And this is
something
like
that's like instrumental to like the heart.
yeah, so this is a DVD copy. I do own the VHS one also. But I mean, I don't know. To honestly answer the question, I mean, a lot of it. I mean, I do like. I just can't really find one and just like yeah, that's the one I.
What about you? You posted, you know, the Halloween movies came out recently on those Shout Factory or Scream Factory. Have you got to like sit and go through those and check those out yet? Like the special features and stuff.
As far as the special features, I haven't gone into checking them. Like maybe I feel like it was a couple of weeks ago. I tried going through all the movies. I only got to the first one, which is pretty hilarious. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know. I was trying to watch the second one. I think just like I don't remember what stopped me from continuing on. I don't know if it was a like the podcast I had to do or like I always get sidetracked with things or like just there's always stuff coming up.
That's
It's like,
true, man. Life is throwing a dart, man. You gotta
but I
kind of
mean, yeah, with the whole because I did want to marathon it because I have like the that Blu-ray 10 disc Halloween from Shout Factory or Scream Factory,
nice.
and when October was around, I was like, oh, I really want to marathon it, but then whenever I knew about the 4K ones that are gonna appear, I was like, I want to wait till I get my hands on the 4K editions and watch it that way. But whenever I got the 4K stuff, it was like already after Halloween. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I'm that same way. I'm like, I want to watch this, but it comes out on 4K in a few weeks, and I want to kind of check it out then. But I feel like that's just me making an excuse for me to go out and buy something else.
yeah. I love the slip cases and stuff like the
Yeah,
hard
the slip
copy.
cases are really nice.
I remember
There-
whenever like it released and everyone's like posting pictures or I would see videos, I was like really jealous. Like, I was like, oh, I just don't have the money at the moment to do that. I remember, I think we even talked about like because you started posting stuff and I had said there's like that deluxe whatever like the
oh,
bundle thing where it came with the pins, the vinyls. It's like
that was really nice. Yeah.
I really want that, but I don't have the money.
Yeah, no, I saw some probably some of the same videos and unboxing of those, and I'm like, man, those are really nice sets and nice collectibles. But yeah, I'm not some of the prices, man, that they asked for that, and then yeah, it's like, do I really want to sit and eat canned tuna for 2 weeks while I'm sitting here playing with my
Can't
Halloween,
tuna.
while I eat watch my Halloween pins and stuff like that? I'm like,
Exclusive Halloween pens.
yeah,
Uh, I feel like maybe eBay, you can find them on eBay. Have made if I had to guess, I would say maybe 40 or $50. For all I know, they're selling for more.
No, yeah, that's the thing too. That's like kind of upsetting when you're doing like physical media and buying. Is like there's people out there that's buying five, six, seven copies of something and
And they're
then holding
reselling.
them and then resell it for double the money. I'm like, oh, bastards.
Yeah. Um. Well, besides cause I'm gonna be waiting whenever they release more of the films on the 4K, like whenever I guess they match up with the other ones. Um. Cause whenever I got that 10 disc one, that was I got it because it was like what, like $40 around there or whatever. Now it's going for like 100 or 100 plus. They're trying to resell that one.
Yeah, I've seen some people try to post that for $3.99, and I'm like, geez.
But the box set that's very similar to the Friday 13 one, that's the one I want. And it always pains me like whenever I saw a post because it was like one of those posts saying like, oh, it's something about a marathon or something like that, and it was like the box set. I was like, oh, like every time I see it, like, and that thing goes for like maybe used or like $400, and it goes up 400 and up. Like a brand new, you can probably get like 800 or 1,000.
Oh my god.
It's hilarious because I already have them, but I just love the like how it looks in the box set, and you get the producer's cut and all that.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice set, but the thing that I didn't like about it is I felt like they rushed it, so some of the audio is kind of messed up in it, and then some of the scenes don't is like not cut up very well. So some of these are like iffy. Like even I don't know if you collect like Criterion. I try to collect a lot of Criterion too. They rushed some of the 4K Criterion with Citizen Kane, and Criterion came out and was like, "Yep, nope, the Blu-ray disc of this is not working." So like Barnes and Noble had to hurry up and pull theirs off the shelf, and I'm like, "Geez, just stop trying to rush and make your money and put out a very good quality product, especially if you're charging like 40, $50."
That's like, and you mentioned Criterion, but I was like, the only thing I actually have a Criterion, it's not it's pretty hilarious. So it's not really too hilarious, but it's because it's a Hard Day's Night, the Blu-ray. But that's as far as Criterion, that's the only thing I have of that.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
They always
really,
put out nice sets though.
really big fan of the Beatles and from the music, and that was one of the things. And then I have the movie Help on Blu-ray, or even
Nice.
Yellow Submarine. It's, um, uh, there's so much stuff as far as collection. Like I even have like a little comic collection stuff. Um, collect a lot of figures and whatnot. Like outside of physical media, do you actually collect out of that? Like, is there any other collections?
Um, I'd probably say like posters or like stuff back here like that you see like some of the Joker and vinyl and football helmets stuff like that. I used to collect the 7 and 8 inch football figures that would just be in a standing still position and but man, after moving a few times and losing some of those and like storms and floods and stuff like that, I kind of just like I don't know. Um, Stuff like this back here, the belts and the Freddy Krueger glove. I've kind of kept those throughout the years, but I don't really collect some stuff like that anymore. Um, Now it's kind of just like, and it's all because of space. I'm like, do I want to collect this more or this more? And obviously the movies get the nod. What about you? Do you collect a lot more? Like you have like vinyl posters and what about you said something about not the bobbleheads, but the pop figures, right?
Yeah, as far as Funko Pops, I don't have the biggest collection, but it is kind of a collection. I stopped collecting because I guess a lot of the characters don't really like. not really that many characters I like that they're putting out. Or even the ones I want there to go for a lot of money. I have a couple of like on my side. Like I have like a CM Punk one. I have the little sweet Dr. Pepper mascot guy
Oh, that's funny.
that you get like if you I think you have to buy three Dr. Peppers and then you just scan it and then you get a free pop. I was like,
Oh,
that was a
nice.
pretty cool little promotion thing. And I have a power line from a Goof movie. It's like a Hot Topic exclusive pop. But a lot of my pops, I keep them in my closet. Not because I'm ashamed, but they're just like I have a lot of stuff and just I'm really running out of place. Like,
No, I get you. I'm looking for a spot and just staying because moving with all these movies is a bitch. I gotta find so many boxes. I gotta find a lot of tape, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm ready to find a spot and just stay because moving sucks. I hate moving.
yeah, I can imagine when I do move because right now I'm in an apartment complex. Like when I move, I wanted to move into an actual house and not ever have to deal with it again.
Yeah, it's moving sucks when you're collecting. That's probably the only negative that I would say. And then sometimes eating tuna. But yeah,
Tuna.
but yeah, moving sucks.
Yeah, okay, so this thing I'm making this like an on going question that I usually um have you ever experienced any like paranormal activity stuff in real life?
Oof, paranormal activity stuff. Uh, man, that's I think in some aspects we all maybe have like had those feelings of maybe like somebody's there, or like we got some eyes on us when nobody else is in the room. Um, but as far as like any actual experiences going, uh, nothing happened. No, like nothing's honestly like happened to me where something's like popped out or I moved something and but I also forget a lot. So if I put something there, uh, but no, nothing really is like happened to where I'm just like, yeah. But I always do feel sometimes like, if I'm in the house alone or if I'm yeah, I do feel like sometimes there's always somebody like probably watching me, which is probably true. What about you?
Yeah, I do tend to feel that a lot. Like I always, every time I usually ask the question, I just kind of respond with yeah, that's similar thing. Like it feels that way, but I really if something happened, it happened without me knowing it. Um, and it's always hilarious because whenever I do ask that, like I say that, and I'm over here like doing it live. I was like, well, obviously you're being watched. I mean, no, but yeah, it's just the kind of question I because I always love hearing like the paranormal stuff or whatever. If there's a story, um, is there like urban legend or I mean, I guess is there anything like do you actually think that could be real, like as far as La Llorona or like La Chusa, some of those.
Uh, if it has to do with like paranormal stuff, like ghosts or spirits, like I think it's just because of some like backgrounds of mine. But I do think that a lot of stuff like that like is true or has happened because like this world or this universe that we're kind of whatever we're in, is like what happens when you do like kick the bucket. I mean, we're all horror fans, yeah, but what happens when you die? Like, I don't really knows what happens, but I do think that I think some spirits or some souls are chilling, hanging out, watching my TV, so shit like that.
Say, well,
But
you
like,
living rent free.
yeah, yeah, you better pay something. Um, yeah, I think that stuff does happen, man. I think some of those legends are, they didn't just pop up. They didn't just randomly start getting told. They had to have come from somewhere. So I think there, even if it's like 2% truth, I think there's some truth behind most of those.
Uh, I don't know. Like I feel like my dad will always joke around, or it could be true, because apparently to him he said when he was with the or friends of his, whatever, when he was younger, you'd see La Llorona. I don't know how truthful that story is, but it's pretty hilarious. Um, is like, are you big on conspiracy theories?
Um, I think so. I think if the conversation is right, depending on what we're talking about, and then this is where you also like start stepping on some people's toes. Like you could mention something, and you could oh 10 hate mails just popped up right there just because I said this about a conspiracy theory. But if we're doing some unrated stuff, then yeah, I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories going on. Uh, where last year was probably proof of some stuff. 2011 or 2001. I think it's everywhere, and I think it's more of a how much stuff is actually getting covered up than it is just a conspiracy theory, which could be the same thing. I don't know.
Is there any one in particular that stands out to you? Like,
Uh, some of these school shootings, some of these mass shootings, some of the 9/11 stuff is definitely certainly something to you know it's weird when you sit there and actually dissect some of this stuff. It's actually like, how did this happen, or why did this happen, or how did we lose that much money just 24 hours before the 9/11 attacks? Um, Again, all this stuff is above my kind of pay grade, but it is certainly fun to sit there and just dissect and say how and why. Um, Especially knowing that are the everyday people who pay taxes and go to work and try to get on with our little existent life, but yet stuff like what's going around in the world today is just it's weird, man. And it's like, why cover it up? If there's aliens, just tell us about it. Fuck, we won't bother them. You know, but it would be the opposite. We would be the kind of people that bother them. Oh, let's go fucking poke at them.
let's go storm Area 51 now, babe.
Yeah, like I believe in the X Files. I watch that show. I know that stuff is really happening. Fox put it out. Fox, if Fox tells it, it has to be true.
Dun, 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 dun. Uh, let's see what else you got. Do you believe in the Mandela effects?
Somebody brought this up to me the other day about the Mandela effect, and I'm like, uh, man, it's just some of this stuff is you're talking about like if like that whole Kazam movie with Sinbad.
That one's
People,
still, I don't know, because I didn't really, that wasn't really so much my time growing up
that's the only thing
to
I can
even
like.
call that.
Yeah, yeah, that's the only thing I can like really think of. But I believe in like Alzheimer's and dementia and shit. Like I forget a bunch of stuff anyway. So Mandela effect, it could happen to me probably.
Like, there's a Mandela effect, like some of us like Kit Kat, where like Kit Kat's just supposed to have the words and not like a little what's it called, like a little space bar. I don't I forget what's referred to as.
Oh damn.
There's
No,
like different like spellings of things, or there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that I just can't really think on top of the head. It's like, I mean, it really is debatable if, because I mean, how is it that like a big old majority of people all remember something all the same? It's not like it's just like a few people like a
maybe it's just some the people that forgot they've already been flashy thingy like from Men in Black.
get flashed.
Yeah, a little flashy thingy. What about I don't know. You want to touch back in some other podcast stuff, or um,
Uh, as far as
like you guys, with Friday the 14th, you guys have like some fun segments. How do you guys usually like come up with your segments?
so the
Especially maybe in like
segments.
different living in different like cities, or is it, do you guys like have like sometimes I'll get my guys on like a conference call, or I'll be like, well, we'll do like a dinner or something, like, hey, let's map out like a month or two and see where we go from there. Let's like put some ideas together.
Well, I would say between like the me, Alfredo, and Manny, we all live in the same city. As far as Fuentes, he lives kind of nearby, but it's a different town. Uh, there's times we get together, but it's not really necessarily about the podcast itself. Like most of the times, we just kind of group chat stuff. The segments, those came about. I mean, it was just Alfredo. I guess he just tried to put something quick together, and there is stuff that's like as far as slogans and like what else is there? I'm already forgetting. There's the slogans. There is, simple stuff like spoiler free rating or whatever. Um, like how you would have ended. That was the segment that I came up with.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty fun. I've heard a few of those, and how you would have ended it. Yeah, that's, I like
Yeah.
that. Those are always kind of like out there, and like some of the funniest parts of you guys' shows is how would you end it. I know you guys had one too that's like hot or not, and that was pretty
So
funny.
that one just it came out on the spot, like one of our the episodes. I was like, me and Fuentes was like, oh, we should just make up a silly segment about because there was the segment before that was referred to as the fresh rant, where many fresh would go ranting on. Like he would read either the good reviews or bad reviews on the movie we reviewed. So like if he hated the movie, he'll look for the good reviews and read their little post, and then you start ranting about it, like trying to say like, oh, well, this is a bad movie, and vice versa. I mean, if it was a bad movie, he just does called the fresh rant. So I was looking for like a segments to cover that area, and the whole hot or not thing just it was because I mean Alfredo thought he thinks of it like it's just a dumb idea, but I mean I was like, I mean I don't know, I was just really looking for like an idea just to have fun with it. I mean, but it shortly ended, sadly, because I guess Fuentes kind of didn't feel right doing that. I mean, in a sense, I feel a little weird doing it myself, but it was just trying to put some entertaining stuff into
Yeah, those segments are always kind of fun, especially how many, you know, however many you can try to fit in there.
it.
But
Like when we do our so to speak reviews, we kind of because it's mainly covered through like our likes and dislikes. We don't really necessarily go into like a full rundown of the actual movie. Um, when we started the initial podcast, that was back before I got in. I jumped into the stuff. They would like they'll break down scene by scene by scene. It was like a whole different vibe to it. It was different from what it is now. It reminded me
yeah,
of like how Wrestling Tacos was. Like we just go break down all that, but then they kind of shortened down to like, oh, just if we're gonna talk about the movie, we're just gonna talk about the scenes and stuff.
yeah, that's kind of like how we started. Was we try to break down scene by scene, and we're looking up, and it's an hour and a half, and we still have like a whole another half a movie to talk about. I'm like, yeah, there's no way that we can do scene by scene every time. Especially for like something like Monday, we're talking Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, Jesus, Lord of the Rings is like 3.5 hours. So that I don't know, that should be fun, but yeah, now like I've kind of stuck there's 2 hours or less, man. To me, the podcast now almost feels and sounds like a radio show. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to where it opens up and it's just like, you know, it's not even about really the movie for the first hour. We don't talk about the movie really until the second hour of the show, and it's like the format just kind of like took a shift, and especially with sponsors picking us up and reaching out and getting some local sponsors. I'm like that, now I have to talk about them and all that good shit.
That's kind of another thing I wanted to touch base on. Like, how did the whole sponsors thing come about?
Uh, I didn't really touch on a lot of sponsors for the first year because I'm like, I was still kind of like the secret. I was like, oh, you have a podcast? Like, yeah, I have a podcast. But when we started getting some downloads and some likes and some local interaction, I was like, I know a buddy who owns a restaurant. Let me see if he wouldn't mind working together. So I went to him and had like a little. I was really proud of my fifth grade PowerPoint presentation, and I showed him like where the downloads come from, and had a nice little presentation with him, and it was like, hey, every single week we have a show. Every single week we'll plug you. We'll share your stuff on Facebook. I'll throw out your flyers, your business cards, and I'll do the same thing if you do it for me. It's great. It had nothing to do with money, and it's still kind of some of them have money involved, some of them don't. But like for the most part, it's just share my product, and I'll do the same for you. And that's kind of really how the first one came off. Um, uh, so yeah, we got the a local Mexican restaurant here, and after that really is when we started booming. Um, and then I did a local movie theater here. Um, what else do I have? A soda company locally here. Everything's local except for the energy drink that I just picked up. Um, Other than that, yeah, everything's just been local. So it's been really easier since you know some downloads and social media started picking up really on the Instagram and the Twitter. So Facebook people are still lazy.
Yeah, so whenever I always catch a glimpse at like the the soda sponsor, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, these sponsors and then the soda one, it just reminds me like, cause I'm a Dr. Pepper holic, so to say. It'd be it'd be crazy if I had was sponsored by Dr. Pepper or something like that.
Yeah, the soda one was pretty fun and was pretty easy. I stumbled upon them. I didn't even know they existed, and then I talked to the owner for a little bit and swapped information. He was like, "Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting people to come to my shop, especially with COVID." And I'm like, "Well, maybe I can help out." And then I showed him. I did the same thing with the presentation. Showed him the numbers, and you know, you share my stuff, I'll share your stuff, and now all these sponsors kind of just throw in some gifts, and every quarter, about 4 to 5 times a year, I'll do like a giveaway, and it'll include something from us, something from each sponsor. So they're walking away with like a nice little $150 gift bag.
Yeah,
Oh, and then we have a physical media electronic store, and yeah, they didn't help my addiction in it either. So
it's pretty cool. Here's a random question. This is like a question that we do on Wrestling Tacos or like some of the like interviews. This question, I don't know if you're even big on tacos, but do you have a favorite taco?
oh man, whatever doesn't eat me first. No, um, uh, my go to would probably be locally here. We have a little place right across the street from me. It's like the best, greasiest carne asada tacos with everything on. I have to have everything on there. But if I don't do carne asada, if I want to switch it up a little bit, um, is it the carnitas, the fried pork tacos? And yeah, I have to have red and green salsa, cilantro, lime, onion. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Um,
We eat good here at the Cinema Movie Podcast.
you
That's
eat
what I
good
was.
here.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the question I needed to ask. Do y'all eat good at the Similar Podcast?
yeah. Whoa, was that really a question?
No, that wasn't a question, but I was saying that that should be a question. That should have been
Oh
the
yeah, it's a T-shirt.
that's
Speaking of
the
T-shirts, what do you guys come up? You guys come up with some T-shirts too? Do you guys have some swag?
some merch. We did start doing those, or we tried attempted. We had like a because our brand before EmoséwA Productions, we were referred to as Wrestling Kingdom Entertainment. So Franco, I mean Alfredo had made like 20 20 he made 20 shirts, so it was like a limited shirt thing. So and of course I got myself one. Um Later on he had made like a Wrestling Taco shirt, which is hilarious. I think he posted about it, but with this shirt he didn't like the first one he's like, "Oh, you want a shirt? Just pay me the money, whatever." And the second one he didn't say, "Do you want a shirt?" He didn't. I guess he just assumed I saw the post. So so I missed out on the Wrestling Tacos shirt, which is kind of upsetting since I'm like the OG host. It's like, how come I didn't get one? um, there's like we don't have a Friday 14 shirt, or we didn't make one for the collecting podcast. Um, I want to say he had more shirts made, but I think they were just mainly for like four or five of us.
Just kind
Like
of
for
like
instance,
for the guys.
yeah, but like these shirts will be like for like if we attend like independent shows that are in here in Texas, like they'll be like the wrestler, like
Oh,
because like some wrestlers don't even have their own, they don't have their merch, like they don't have any merch. So Alfredo was like, oh, I guess he has the idea like, oh, we should just make our own merch.
yeah.
So that was like one of the shirts, like it was like a gray shirt, and it was for a wrestler named Joe Alonzo.
Nice. Yeah, merch is fun.
But yeah, as far as merch, we really didn't we haven't really put out anything really big. We have a like a I think what's it Teespring, I think that's what the the company is called. Like we had the designs for like Wrestling Tacos. I think it was some of it's like the logo from because we like to refer to them as seasons. So season two, there's the logo like it's like looks like a WWE logo. Like it's like like SmackDown. It looks like a SmackDown, but it says Wrestling Tacos Podcast with
Oh,
red and
okay.
blue. And
Nice.
then there's more the other design is with our our current logo like Wrestling Tacos.
Somebody's you said seasons wanted me to ask. I've had a lot of people ask what season I'm on, or what, do you guys break it up into season? I'm like, I've never thought about that. I've we've just been going every single episode since 2018, and I'm like, at some point, should I take a break, or should I just, like, because I like the way things are flowing now. I like everything sounds, and I don't know. I feel like if I took a break, it would just cause, I feel like I'm kind of like on a nice little smooth road. But I feel like if I took a break, it would be bumpy. Do you guys, are breaks good for you guys? I've heard sometimes they're good for people. They're not good. It just depends on how everybody is.
Oh, like from like like on the as far as breaks, I mean, I don't know. It's weird because I think the Rest and Tacos one, we wouldn't necessarily like take long breaks. Like season, so to say, the season one was with me and Alfredo, and then that's when like we moved away from each other. So season two, he had another guy named the Reaper. So season two was about them two. I think the break from that was maybe like a month after he got done moving. Um, Towards the end of that season, I jumped in for like a few episodes. Like it was like a WrestleMania topic one. Um, then there was season three, which we added one of the other friends named Andy. So there was four of us. we reached 100 episodes, and I know Alfredo will probably be like shaking his head, like, but what I'm saying, like, it's supposed to be 100 episode. We did not do anything special for an episode. I wish that we did, but it was like a regular episode. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, the 100 episode of Wrestling Tacos podcast, and we ended it from there. I don't know how many. I think it was like a month or two. We jumped back on or something like that but it was like a 101, 101. But ever since then, the whole Wrestling Tacos podcast kind of just it died, so to
Oh,
say. I mean, now it's just become like a brand itself. Like it's not even a podcast anymore. It's just a brand.
well, no, it's
And
just, I mean, that's the logo and the name, man. That's that stuff. Gold. It's gold to me. Like every time I hear that, I'm like, good for them because it's the name is so much fun. The logo, uh, and now like I know that you guys are doing like a lot of indie stuff and they're posting up videos and matches and man, that's some good stuff. Like, I know he was even going to come to Oklahoma City, I think, and do like he was going to come to one of the Oklahoma City shows. And yeah, the taco man, it's awesome. It's an awesome logo. That should be. You guys have that on the shirt?
um, like as far as Teespring, I mean, yeah, that's a design on some of the stuff. It's just that the quality they have, it's not really all that good. Because I did get a Wrestling Tacos from the season 2 one. Um, my hoodie is like it's already scratching off.
But yeah, that's a fun logo.
But yeah, like the whole indie thing, like people that attend the shows or whatever, they when they come across us, because Alfredo's been sponsoring like matches and stuff. He'll sponsor the matches, so you see our logo pop up on like on the flyers,
Nice.
and we've been boosting, pumping out a bunch of stuff like as far as interviews. Um, there's like two different style, or now three. There's one where it's like it looks like a podcast, but it's like a stream though. It's exclusive. Like I think it no, I think we do audio files, but it's called Wrestler of the Week.
Oh
Those
yeah,
range from like 30 minutes to an hour or so, depending on who they get on. They're pre-recorded. So there's that. I guess that's a Wrestling Tacos. Um, then we have another thing called Ooh. They do that. They unpack like Pokemon cards or like it depends on the person because they'll have like Yu-Gi-Oh cards or Dragon Ball Z cards, but most of the time it's Pokemon.
nice.
And then one of the newer shows is called Mats and Tats, which was with Alfredo's wife. They talk about like the story behind the wrestlers' tattoos and stuff.
That's pretty cool. So you guys have almost all. You could almost have a different video or a different little session for every day of the week.
Yeah, and funny about that is that back when we first started Wrestling Kingdom Entertainment, we used to like joke around because it'll be like towards the end of the month, and we'll have this stuff would get out, and we would have so much stuff built up that it would be referred to as content week. So like would have stuff like every single day. So I mean back then that was a big thing for us. So was be advertising as content week. As of lately, it's not even it's not even referred to as content week. It's just like another a day on the day of the life or another day of the week because there's so much stuff that we put out. And then with me doing for like I only do Friday the 14th like bi-weekly, and then I create this whole EmoséwA live thing. So then and then I don't know if you've got a chance to check out the Ginger Dead Man episode we did.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I saw that was on the YouTube page. I think it was yesterday or the day before. But
So
usually I wait for the notification on like Spotify, and then that's when I start checking them out.
gotcha. I do make an announcement that there's gonna be something coming. I guess I won't spoil it. But whenever I make the announcement though, it sounds very like I'm really unsure what I'm even like what's gonna be about. Because even when I got off air, I was talking to the guy I had on for the show. I was talking to him more about it, and then I was like, I have more of the idea of what's gonna be now, but versus whenever I advertised it on a thing. So like, damn, probably our next review on Friday the 14th will be like Krampus.
Oh yeah, nice,
So
nice. They just had a 4K release too.
yeah, I saw that. So whenever we get done with that review, I'll probably re announce it again, but with more of the idea what we're trying to go for. But that
Nice.
won't go into like next year.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people asking if we're gonna take like breaks or anything, and I'm like, I know we're taking a break from the bonus episodes. Like we've been doing 2 full podcasts a week since June, and I'm like, that's I'm taking a break from the bonus episodes, and we're just gonna do the 2 hour Monday episodes, and the bonus episodes are coming back, but they're just gonna be once a month instead of weekly. So yeah, man. And then sometimes it would get a little confusing. Like, what movie are we covering today? What are we talking about? Um, but yes, I mean, it's it's random. At least the bonus episodes are. Uh, Spider-Man: No Way Home. I mean, I got my tickets. I'm ready for Spider-Man. I'm gonna go see it next Wednesday at 3 o'clock. So I get off work. I got to work at like 2:30. So as soon as I get off, I'm hauling ass all the way to the movie theater, and hopefully I don't miss anything. So
Mm. It's like you got yours Wednesday, but yet I don't have mine till the weekend. It's like
so you're gonna well, I mean, sometimes that's even like a little bit better though, because like some people don't really get to. Some people don't know that there is a Wednesday showing sometimes on a big movie like this, and like we'll be in the theater for like 15, 20 people, but you'll get to be surrounded probably by a packed house. You'll get all the nice, fun, crowd interactions and the laughs and the applauses. Sometimes that's I don't know. I'm not a very big people person, so if I go see a movie, I normally try to pick Sunday at 9 o'clock with the elderly people, and I kind of miss out on some of those big fan interactions when I go Sunday mornings or Saturday mornings.
like whenever I heard that whenever I didn't know that when exactly they're gonna drop the tickets or whatever. Like whenever the pre-sales going on, I didn't find out until like the following morning. So I'm still like, oh damn. I told my cousin about it. He's like, you probably should have told me earlier. He's like, well, I would have told you earlier had I known
Yeah,
they were releasing. But yeah, I was able to get my ticket, but it was like not until like Saturday. So
you got like at least the evening showing.
yeah, it's like 7, I think, around there, seven
Yeah,
thirty ish.
it's gonna be packed. It's gonna be like if you're at like a WrestleMania or something, you'll be waiting in line. Which is those are like the fun experiences though. So we kind of talked about it on our last episode about movie theaters. Do you see because the Matrix is going to be on HBO Max, and so I brought up to everybody. I was like, do you think movies that are on streaming and in theaters, do you think that takes away from the movie? And since I have you here, I want to kind of ask you, like, would you rather go see the movie in theaters, or like were you like, I got it on streaming, I'll just stay home and watch it?
You know, well, now that the theaters are open again, I mean, I always enjoy like how they're initially intended to be seen on the big screen. Because I would watch stuff like on HBO Max, and you're seeing like Mortal Kombat or Godzilla versus Kong and all that. Or sure, you might, I don't know. Like, it's a weird experience. I mean, sure, you're still watching a movie, but yet it doesn't really match the theater vibes.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like, even though you know I'm not like the biggest Matrix fan, even though we're talking about all fucking 4 of them. I think I still might want to go check that out just for that experience. I wasn't a big fan of Dune, the very first one, the original that we talked about, and I'm like, ugh, I don't even know if I want to go see the new one now. And I didn't see the new one in theaters. I stayed home and watched it on HBO Max, and I'm like, oh, it was a pretty good movie. But everybody that I talked to was like, man, the theater experience of seeing a movie like that on the big screen was really really good. I'm like, now I regret not seeing it on the big screen.
Well, it's kind of like I think there's a couple of movies where I what was it? No, I mean I did watch it at the theater, and then I did like for like a second viewing. I watched it at home because some of the movies were like exclusives to like, and one of them was like The Conjuring 3. I watched at the movies, and then I rewatched it again at home, and Halloween Kills at the theaters, and then I rewatched it on Peacock.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't get to watch Halloween in the theater. I saw it at home, and I'm like, oh man, that was a good movie, and I would have liked it even better if it was probably on the big screen. So,
Yeah,
but I think with January hitting and the virus, it's never going to go away. I think it's going to be kind of like the new flu. You're going to have to probably get a booster every year, stuff like that. But with movie theaters opening back up, I think I can't wait to see what the first movie is going to make. The first $1 billion post pandemic. Spider-Man has a very good chance at making $1 billion, but if it doesn't, man, I don't see a movie maybe till like June or July making $1 billion. Uh, I like looking into weird stuff like that, but yeah, hopefully Spider-Man can do it.
yeah. I mean, I don't mean the movie has a lot of hype on it, so there's like because before we're finally getting to this movie, but I mean, yeah, like movies like The Eternals was released, but yet that one wasn't really there was really no hype around that one.
Yeah,
Uh, uh, was it Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi was pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
that
was a good
movie.
movie.
Yeah, it was pretty good, and it didn't make a lot of money, and it didn't have a lot of hype around that one either. But yeah, same thing with Black Widow though. Like Black Widow was an actual name that people knew, and it still didn't make a lot of money. But I mean, Disney did put that on Disney Plus for like $30.
30 bucks.
So yeah, like charging pay-per-view prices.
Yeah, actually haven't seen Black Widow yet. I just barely recently saw Shang-Chi because they have it on Disney Plus now for free, and I mean, it's not really considered free since I'm paying for it, but
Right, but no, I,
um,
I I get you.
uh, Eternals is part of the MCU, right?
Yeah, Eternals is part of the
Okay,
MCU. I think I
so
think that'll be on Disney Plus in a few weeks.
that would be another movie that I still need to watch. That one and Black Widow. I mean, I can watch Black Widow because it's on Disney Plus, but I've heard bad things about it,
No, I
so
mean
I'm still
if you like Black Widow, if you like as a character, it has this movie has more of a Captain America feel to it. Like it has more of a espionage spy kind of feel to it. So if you like some of the Captain America movies, I think you'll probably enjoy Black Widow. Um, yeah, it's on a lot of people's one of their favorite movies of the year so far.
um as far as like yeah, those two movies, the Black Widow and Eternals, and I mean, I'm for sure I'm gonna see No Way Home. Those are two movies I haven't seen. I think I'm mainly caught up on all the Disney Plus series, like and as far as they release, I think they recently released the Hawkeye newest episode. I haven't seen that one yet.
I'm not caught up on Hawkeye. I was usually, and I think it's because I like to wait and binge watch them. I watched WandaVision week by week, and I was like, WandaVision was okay. And then what was next?
Loki, or no,
Uh
it's Falcon Winter Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, I watched. Now I did watch that one every week, and I was interested in that one. And then Loki, I just waited until the whole thing was done, and then I binge watched it, and I really enjoyed Loki. So I think I'm going to do that with Hawkeye, especially with they're only like 6 or 7 episodes, I think. Um, so I think that's what I'm going to do with Hawkeye. And I just heard,
Yeah.
I didn't read any spoilers or anything, but I did hear that episode 5 was like one of the best ones so far.
Oh, I'm getting there. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm getting there. Like they already released the fourth one. I gotta watch that. Like I haven't been really like because they are reviewing all the Spider-Man movies leading up to No Way Home. The last movies like I actually saw of Spider-Man were actually just the trilogy and the like this 4K like the book style thing.
Oh yeah, that's a nice set. I unfortunately I still see that's why that's a really really nice set, but I just don't like the way the discs are placed in there. I,
Yeah.
I like having the actual the, the I still can't find the Spider-Man movies on 4K. I got Homecoming and Far From Home, but man, I thought I was gonna like the Amazing Spider-Man movies a lot more than I did on this recent watch, and I kind of got some hate mail, man. I kind of trashed on the first Andrew Garfield one. I don't know.
They didn't
I
do
thought
anything for you.
no, it didn't do anything for me, but I think it was just the lizard guy. Everybody else I really enjoyed,
Lizard.
but I didn't like the lizard.
Think I've only seen those movies once, and I don't know. There was really that many memorable moments, like
Yeah,
because with
exactly.
the Maguire trilogy is there's a lot of scenes where I can just look back and just make references and just laugh about it. Because I mean, majority of them are turning into like memes and stuff.
Yeah, it's the
And
goat. Like you
part three,
guys
the
is
bully Maguire.
like you guys' dance that I saw. The dance was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's for an upcoming skit we're doing. I think
Nice.
I don't know when it's gonna be released. It's
Yeah,
supposed to be sometime before the movie releases.
pretty fun. Yeah, yeah. When you Spider-Man 1 and 2 is like the goat, and then three is like the redheaded stepchild. Like it is what it is. We'll love it for a little bit just because Toby's in it. Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 is a little rough. Nothing we couldn't try to. I bashed him. My star rating was a little off. Speaking of star ratings, though, like how do you guys start? You guys, we go through a full blown 10. You guys do 5 stars right on Friday the 14th.
Yeah, but we like to refer to them as machetes.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah, yeah. Which is a fun idea, great idea because again, everybody does stars or percentages like on Rotten Tomatoes. So, and you guys being a horror fan and just a dark comedy fan, yeah, that's machetes are fun.
Yeah, we have, what's hilarious also is that I even suggested like because at one point we were doing like wrestling documentary reviews and we would rate those as I told Alfredo like oh we should not like we do machete we should just rate them tacos.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's funny. That's
It was like
nice.
a similar rating scale system, but like the way we rate on Friday the 14th, Alfredo made a he made a thing where it says like what the actual scales are. Like the three is it's said to be like an average movie or um I forget what all of them are. I mean, I really don't go by based off what he had laid out. Like I just kind of made him like my own little uh scale. Like in my head, I have like a different thing of it. So like whenever I say it, I don't think they really match up to his vision of how the rating scale is.
Yeah, but no, the machetes are fun, and the tacos. That's a good idea too. Like yeah, I was gonna truthfully, I wasn't even gonna rate any of the movies that we did. I was just gonna be like, you know, I was gonna do something like trash or not, or some weird stuff like that, like trash or no, or a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But I'm like, we'll just do stars. And I've seen some podcasts have done like 3 or 5s, or some YouTube reviews have done a 6 stars. But I'm like, let's just do out of 10 because like one of our famous sayings is like fuck Rotten Tomatoes. because Rotten Tomatoes they'll have a movie like 98% or 60 or 30%. It's actually a pretty decent movie. So I'm like, fuck Rotten Tomatoes. We'll give star ratings or something like that because they do like their percentages or whatnot. And I'm like, I always try to go in with like an open mind before, I kind of try to stay away from reviews, especially critic reviews. They always seem like they have like a feather up their ass or something.
Um, so I know you're really you can just tell like you're big on whole cinema thing, but the question really is like on YouTube, what is your like go-to stuff? Like what are some of the stuff you're actually subscribed to?
Oh, YouTube. Um, my daughter has my phone sometimes, so you'll see like LOL doll unboxings and stuff. But like some of the stuff I try to just go through and watch on YouTube would be like uh wrestling highlights, um, Friday the 14th. Obviously, I'm subscribed to Friday the 14th, or I'm not gonna butcher your name again, but I'm subscribed to you guys right here.
EmoséwA
Um,
Productions.
there we go. Really, it's just a bunch of different kind of podcast or unboxings. I'm really big on unboxings because I'm like, if I want to watch an unboxing before I go get something, um, that's usually what I am trying to subscribe to, and it usually unboxings or physical media stuff. What about you guys?
Little little fun fact is I did have like a side channel that was called The Bad Guy Nick H. I just as a lately I kind of just let that thing off to the side. Like I don't really upload on it, but some of my videos were like unboxing stuffs. Uh, but like I always found it like my unboxings to be cringy.
I know the feeling. I feel the same sometimes because uh, I used to plug my the podcast has a YouTube channel too, but I'm like I never upload any videos, and we've done some live recordings, and I still for some reason I don't know we really hit big on just like downloads, but I still sometimes want to adventure into the YouTube area, but right now it's just everybody's schedule is so tight that it's just like me doing it, and I'm gonna have to have somebody like I'm gonna have to prop up the phone recording me trying to do something. And I'm like, the time is not ready. The time is not now. Soon though.
Um, like a lot of stuff I watch on YouTube is it's all random. It's like there's just a bunch of stuff. But I was wondering if you ever came across a dude that goes by the name of 3C.
3C.
He does like a bunch of uh there's movie reviews and then he'll do like uh he'll talk about a bunch of like upcoming stuff like news and all that. And then he puts like on his own spin on things like he'll make like sometimes they're hilarious intros and what I mean he knows they're cringy, but he like do little skit intros and he'll just talk about like upcoming movies like all and he'll talk about like yeah either upcoming movies or he reviews the movie.
I haven't heard of him, but I've seen some people out there that are kind of like that. But there's one guy I used to watch. I can't remember his name for the life of me. He would review like really really bad movies, like just terrible terrible movies. And I'm like, why am I sitting here watching 15 minutes of this? Because the guy's entertaining, but um, yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff that I've missed out so far on like YouTube. For some reason, I just uh, I don't know. There's been a lot of stuff that I really want to see. Like I just haven't really had the time. Really.
Yeah, there's a lot. I know there's a lot of similar channels that but like what's even funnier is that like I think one video or I think I follow him on something and then I found out he was like from Texas. It's like wow. Another another person from Texas, but I mean he gained a following like I guess during the whole pandemic stuff. It's was pretty interesting. I know he did a collab with those guys from the Real Rejects.
Oh yeah, I've kind of heard of those. Um,
Yeah.
They're on YouTube too, though, right?
Yeah, their
What do you
whole
think
thing
about
like just reacting.
like to trailers and stuff, or just random
Yeah,
things?
trailers and I think they do different stuff, but I mean it's mainly just trailer reactions.
What do you think of movies getting like pushed back further? Do you think we're done with movies getting pushed back because of the pandemic, or do you think it's still going to happen sooner
I
rather than later?
mean, we're slowly getting back on track, but um, there might be movies still be like that, just in case like editing wise, not really so much pandemic.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm hoping that nothing else gets pushed back. It's been a damper on some of the stuff we do, and then it's just been a damper on like I want to go see this movie, and then you find out like a month before it comes out that it's going to get pushed back.
Yeah, the Doctor Strange is probably a movie I'm looking forward to as far as like the MCU. Um, I wouldn't mind seeing Robert Pattinson, the Batman,
Oh yeah, Batman. It looks good, but it's in March, so I'm hoping that doesn't get pushed back.
or like even the Flash movie.
Oh, with Michael Keaton, yeah, that teaser was something else. I don't want to wait a whole year though.
Mm, yeah, it sucked that like whenever the Halloween it was like got pushed back. It's like, damn
Yeah, and now you find out that Halloween Kills is still a whole year, or Halloween Ends is like it's still a whole year away, and you're just like, why?
it. Yeah.
So, what about this is the first time you really brought up DC. Are you more of a DC guy, or are you more Marvel?
Um, I think I look at them equally. I don't really favor one side over the other because like as far
You
as
just
Marvel, I the main character I prefer or like in general is Spider-Man. That mean I could just favor towards the nostalgic thing because Spider-Man was like one of the first movies I saw, like in the movies. I mean, there's Blade, but I mean, to me, like at the time, like before I knew it was a Marvel property, I just thought it was like a regular vampire movie.
yeah, Blade's not too bad. Um,
And like as far as DC, like my I am I'm a fan of Batman. I collect most of all the like at one point I did have like all the Batman releases like on DVD or Blu-ray. But um, oh boy, we're choking on my saliva. But as of lately, they just been pumping out a bunch of DC animated stuff that it just became impossible to keep track.
yeah, the DC animated stuff, they've really been pushing out a lot of the animated movies, like the Long Halloween Part One and Two, which aren't really bad watches. They're actually pretty good. Um, and I'm glad. I really like your answer. You don't get a lot of people that are like, I like both of them. I like all the content that comes out. So that's a good one.
Yeah, but I mean, if I had to consider myself, I'd be more of a casual fan in if anything, because I'm I haven't dove into the comics and stuff. Mainly because I have I told myself if I ever wanted to get into it, I feel like I had to start from the very beginning
No,
because that like there's a bunch of stories that are just like they're like way beyond like if you try to read into the current stuff, you're just like, man, I know the characters, but I don't know like the story would be.
yeah, yeah. I was always kind of just like kind of DC, but now, I mean, all this content that both companies are putting out, it's really hard not to like what comes out. So yeah, I agree with you. That's a good answer. Family Feud
Yeah,
clap. Good answer. Good answer.
good answer. Yeah, I favor both sides. But the comics I do read, I mean, like The Walking Dead was one of the comics I was really into. I think I'm like 2 volumes behind or something like that, and it's because I own all the the Walking Dead comics. I don't know why I just stopped. There's times where I just get I just don't have you know the passion to read. It's weird.
Yeah,
It's random times. It's just like movies also. I mean,
yeah,
going back to that. But yeah, I'm still like it's been over like for like maybe a couple years, a few years. The comic already ended, but yet I'm still there like all right. When's the time I'm gonna dive into the comic again? I'm so close to finishing it. And then the show itself is gonna wrap up pretty soon. And there's still a lot of spin-offs to that show.
yeah.
As
I've heard that
far
they're gonna do more spinoffs.
yeah, it's crazy. And there's supposed to be a trilogy like that's supposed to be like based around Rick Grimes,
Oh
like a movie
wow,
trilogy.
really?
That's been in talks for a long time. I just don't know what the progress is on that. Comics, so The Walking Dead, there's comics that are just written by a singer of a band that I enjoy. I just been collecting his stuff. There's random ones. I'd say another big collection of mine like is like Power Rangers. Like ever since Boom Studios, they've been pushing out a bunch of stuff. And this is a comic that I just have like on the my desk. I have yet to read it. It's been out. I've had it for a long time, but it's just the TMNT Power Ranger crossover.
Oh wow, nice. It looks like a nice cover too. Like, is it hardback?
No, it's actually paperback.
It looks nice
Um,
though.
I don't know if they released a hardcover yet, because whenever I searched for it, I didn't see one. There's they have one of the Power Rangers in the Justice League. That one's they have a hardcover on that one, but I only have the paperback because that's most of my collection is all paperback. Or even the hardcovers I have, they're like just like the big ass like compendium style, whatever. Like
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree though. Like you said, you have to get in the mood sometimes to read. Like, and then we talked about the movies too, TV shows, anything. Like, it's crazy how like before, and you could probably agree, before you like had a like probably job or work or school, we just like, oh yeah, I have 12 hours to watch and do whatever I want. Let's spend 12 hours on the Xbox. Now it's like, man, I can't even get 8 hours of sleep, let alone an hour on the Xbox. Or, you know, sometimes it's just hard to pick something out.
um, do you have a game that you currently play or you haven't just played in a while?
Uh, Video games. So I'm usually only a 3 or 4 game a year kind of guy. Like whether it be like NBA 2K or Madden, WWE. I tried to do the Spider-Man games and the Batman games, and they're fun for me for a little bit. But after I'm probably like only on there for like 30 minutes to an hour, then I'm done. It's weird. I have like the attention span of like a 5-year-old when it comes to video games. Like for some reason, I don't know. Even though Red Dead was one that I was like super super excited to play, and I was like, yeah, this is I'm gonna finish this game. This is gonna be fun. Because I remember the old one. I bought it and played for like 2 hours, and I never touched it again.
Uh, let's say the recent game I played was like 32K. It was like 2K18 because I never got the 2K19 one, and then I heard 2K20 was all bugged out and everything. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna avoid that one then.
See, I didn't have any harsh issues with 20 as far as like being bugged out. Yeah, there was some, the first week, yeah, there was a lot of bugs. Like Charlotte Flair had put something in the figure four or the figure eight, and she's doing her flip, and her hair looks like she's hanging herself. And I'm like, geez,
Graphic.
yeah. But after the first 2 weeks, they patched it, and there were still a small few things, but it wasn't like enough to not enjoy the game for me. But I don't know. I recently got to upgrade to the PlayStation 5, so I'm kind of interested in seeing how. I mean, 2K22 is going to be. I heard rumors that that they were only going to put out a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One copy, and then
Hmm.
that it would just be a PlayStation 5 like advanced copy, kind of like how Spider-Man was, the first Spider-Man. So I don't know. I know the graphics and the screenshots that they released look really really good. But I'm like, how can you put out a good game if you're releasing all these people? One of the main people, probably a lot of people wanted to see what these graphics or what this new game was, Bray Wyatt. He's probably not even going to be in it, even
Yeah.
though WWE just released a Santa Claus Fiend Funko Pop, I think. But like, I'm like, I still think there's some weird shit behind his release. Um, I don't know, but that's probably like my heartbreak of 2021 as far as wrestling news was his release.
The Fiend. Have the
Yeah,
like the ultimate figure
yeah,
of the
like
Fiend.
that's the most badass character that you've probably put out or that WWE has put out in years. And then for some reason, creative differences or they wouldn't let him take his time after Luke Harper passed away, or I don't know what happened, but I feel like he just threw money away. There's so much money to be made with that guy. Yeah. So that was a big disappointment.
Yeah. So yeah, as far as the whole gaming stuff, whatever. I did the Spider-Man because I was trying to buy games to start playing them again. Um, but same thing, just don't really can't find it.
Yeah, the
um,
time. And then sometimes I don't know if you're like the same, but sometimes I'm like spending an hour and a half on a game and I'm like, this is an hour and a half I could be watching a movie to get ready for the episode.
um, say I'd say the last game that I really enjoyed playing was Fallout 4. That was probably the last game. That was really I just spent like a long time just on it. I
I
mean, I
think I
beat the
did.
story pretty fast, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Fallout's always like pretty fun, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's difficult sometimes. Video games are like it's a love hate relationship between me and video games.
It's like, yeah. Was it like fairly easy for you to get your hands on the PS5?
Um, I didn't like go out of my way the first few months that it came out. So it came out like November 2020. I didn't really get mine until May or June of this year. And uh, here locally, we have like an Air Force base, and they have like a store on the Air Force base. As long as somebody that was like military can get on, you can get on. And I just randomly called them, like, let me see if these people have one, because I was just like, let me just waste $600 for some reason. And for some reason they had it, and I was like, can you hold things? But it wasn't like that hard. But I mean, if I tried like day one or like that first month, I'm sure it would have been difficult. But I kind of just, yeah, I don't know. I still think it's a little insane, man. Especially with now all the shortages that some people have and these companies with these chips, and I'm like, I don't know. It's there's a lot of people that are paying crazy amount of money for some of these game systems. Like we have a local vintage stock here, and vintage stock is selling it for $8.99, but you got to buy two controllers and four games to go with it. And after that, it's like $1,500. Not 1,500, but at least probably $1,200. That's the only way they'll sell them here.
Oh, so bundled.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. I mean, at the time I did want to get a PS5 or something like that, but I just I don't know. I think my money, I'm a person who spends a lot of money, so I don't really save. There's always stuff that catches my eye, and then I go broke and I start eating cups of noodle and a bit.
yeah. Some
uh,
tuna. I can't even get tuna in water. Mine's tuna in oil.
but I mean, my older brother actually has the PS5 and Xbox Series X, and
Oh
I mean,
dang.
we lived together, and I had I think I've only got to play on the Xbox Series X like once. I wasn't even really that long. I think we're gonna like play like Halo or something like that.
Were you
But
impressed?
huh?
Were you impressed?
With
The Xbox?
I don't think it was like an actual game though. So
Oh,
I think it was like from the like, Xbox One. So I didn't
oh.
really get the full on experience. So
I
it's
mean, like,
hilarious with the systems. Like there's still not enough like the library to me to actually like, oh, you know what? I should get one right now.
yeah, like to me, the graphics for these new systems, for how much money you're spending, they're polished and they look good. But for how much money you got to dish out for the system, and then these games are like $70. I'm like, I was expecting some like real live shit to happen to me or something. I was,
It's real life shit.
yeah, I was expecting some 8K shit looking stuff,
Mm,
but for how much money you're spending, I mean, I think it's okay. I think, if I had to go back and do it all again, would I? I don't think I'd spend that much money again. I would have probably waited until everything was like a full 2 year, 3 year process of coming out.
well, I mean, for some people, it can be used as a video game system or as a 4K player.
That's true. That's true. Um, and then you can use it for all different kinds of stuff too. So I get, the hardcore gamers, wanting it and using it. It's a powerful tool, but for me, who's just like a not even I wouldn't even consider myself a casual gamer. I think it was a waste for me at least.
Mm. My brother would always tell me like, oh, because I had interest in buying the 4K player. My brother would tell me like, oh, why don't you just get a PS5 or an Xbox? Like, oh, I was like, but they're never available. So
Yeah,
I end up just buying like a 4K player.
I think the Xbox One though, the original Xbox One X, I think those play 4K. Those do play 4K movies.
Yeah,
But yeah, like the 4K, I have the same people tell me the same thing. Like, why do you buy the 4K player too? I'm like, first off, I don't. If I do ever get in that mood of gaming 24/7, I don't want that thing to overheat. And then second of all, I mean, I don't know. I've always liked having the actual 4K player too.
and it's just like it's kind of like a thing like saying, yeah, I own a 4K player.
Yeah, yeah. You got the best quality. You got the player. You got the HDMI cord. You got the TV. You got the disc. The only better quality is going to the movie theater. So
Yeah. Um. So currently, like on the live, we're at 2:22. I was thinking maybe we can end it at 2:30 or 2:35 ish.
yeah, that'll work. You want to talk about like maybe some of your upcoming or what do you want to do for the next 10 minutes?
That's a good question. Honestly,
What do you guys got
covered
coming up? You said after Ginger Dead Man, you have a Krampus special.
Krampus, yeah.
Krampus.
So but that when we were putting together the Christmas movie ideas, like I was the first one to like have the options. Like I didn't know what to like, so I had it from Jack Frost and the Gingerbread Man. I had it like I posted like, what movie should I review? And I noticed that you had chose Jack Frost. The
Yeah,
majority of people were picking Jack Frost, so like, all right, I'm gonna do this one. But then in my mind, I was like, you know what? Why not like throw a Ginger Demon as a bonus episode? But the thing is, I didn't advertise it as much because I didn't know it was gonna be a for sure thing if I had someone to come on with me. Like Fuentes told me like, I don't know, it was the day before. He's like saying, yeah, I'm too busy. I'm not gonna be able to jump on. I was able to get someone else though. Um, so that whole thing was pretty interesting because we're just gonna do 2 movies and that was gonna be it. We're gonna like take a break for the rest of December.
yeah,
As far as the Krampus idea, Fuentes has a show that he's gonna be performing. That's gonna be on the 18th of December. Um, the whole show is like themed around Krampus. So it's
nice.
like, oh, you're gonna be doing a show that's themed that. It only makes sense that we review the movie Krampus. It's like that's the same week as
Yeah,
the
yeah,
show,
nice.
and
That's
he
yeah,
like
that movie.
and he
Oh
had
my
like
bad.
the idea.
Yeah,
How's that?
that movie's fun, man. I think that's gonna be a fun review. And it's definitely been like I throw that in there with like Home Alone and It's a Wonderful Life now. Like every year I have to watch that movie as far as Christmas movies go. So it's fun.
And see, it's coming next week, but I have still yet to see it though.
You've
Not
not is
only
this
just
a
for like, not only just for the review, but actual seeing it. I still have yet to see it.
Oh, okay. So it's gonna be a first time watch then.
It would be a first time watch. We had watched the trailer like for the one of the episodes. We were watching it, and I was like, I think I seen the trailer once, but I already forgot who was in it. And then rewatching the trailer, I was like, oh, the guy, they had the guy from Parks and Rec and the Step Brothers, and then the other guy from Anchorman. And of course, he comes out different stuff. But I was like, you know,
Yeah.
it's cool. I mean, they're pretty cool guys. Like I enjoy their work as far as the comedy stuff, but it always like takes me like out of it. Like whenever it's a horror movie, it's like, oh, these guys are too known. I mean, sure,
Yeah.
they probably give a cool performance in the movie, but it's always like one of those first initial. It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
These
It's
are
kind of a
two known actors. That,
it's kind of a dark comedy. So I'll definitely be listening. Hopefully you enjoy it.
yeah, that's the way it looks like. It's intended to be a dark comedy or something like that. I mentioned the previous one that whenever when I do the reviews, I only give the movie like a one time viewing instead of like at least getting like two or three viewings before going to it. I feel like if I do watch it, I could get more stuff I can talk about, but I was like I always do like the day before or the day of when we do the review.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. The only I very rarely watch something two times before getting ready for it. But when I do get ready for it, I do the same. I watch it like the day of or the day before, and I'll take my notes and especially if it's something that I really haven't seen that much of or I'm not a fan of. Sometimes I'm like, man, I didn't like that initial watch. Let me try to do this one more time. But yeah, like the Matrix, man. The Matrix was rough. Revolutions was rough. So
Yeah, I don't really I remember just doesn't really get much interesting stuff in that movie to be honest. I
yeah,
think the only cool parts of it were like I guess towards the end
yeah,
when they're actually fighting and they're flying in the air. I was like, all
yeah.
right, here's the big climax of the whole thing, whatever.
Waited 2 hours for just some 30 seconds fight scenes.
It's like it became Dragon Ball Z out of nowhere.
Yeah,
um, I know we kind of already ended it with the whole video game conversation, but I think there was a question that popped up and then just kind of slipped my mind.
yeah.
But um, so and what do you think is the best video game movie adaptation of all time?
Of all the times.
Because there's a lot of bad ones.
There's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of rough ones. Um, Man, I'm trying to think right now. I know we included this in one of our top fives. Uh, Oof. I would probably have to say best. Um, Man, I am blank right now. Video game adaptations, because yeah, when I talked about them, they were the bad ones. Um, you know what? I'm gonna probably get some swank for this, but what's the movie with Mark Wahlberg? Um,
Max Payne.
Max Payne. The video game. I don't really remember much of the video game, but I know the movie. I'm a huge Mark Wahlberg fan, and I thought the movie was pretty cool. I think Mila Kunis was in it as well, and it was dark. It was gritty. Um, Another one would be just a cop out, but Mortal Kombat this year was pretty fun. So, what about you? Do you have a favorite? That was pretty rough, man.
Yeah,
It's not easy.
Yeah, especially since I haven't, there's a lot of movies I haven't really dived into as far as that. Like, like Max Payne, I haven't seen that movie. And it's because that movie's been out for a long, well, not super long, but long enough
Yeah,
to
it's
like, yeah, plenty of time to watch it, pretty much. Um, the funny, interesting thing is my older brother has a collection of video game movies. Like his whole, like his collecting, because he does collect some stuff also. Like he tends to mainly stick with the video game stuff. So like pretty much majority of all the movies that had video game adaptations, he has majority of all those. Um, wouldn't it be hilarious if I just randomly said Super Mario Bros. Even though it's a horrible movie?
Super Mario Bros. I heard that was getting a Blu-ray release soon. I might have to pick it up, or it already did get one.
Like a
So
steelbook release or
no,
just a regular?
no, just a regular Blu-ray.
You know
So
what's getting a steelbook Blu-ray release? Street Fighter. The
is it?
original,
Yeah. I have I
that one
no, I
looks
have not.
cool.
Yeah, I have not seen that one actually. I own it like in a weird random Blu-ray 2 pack, but yeah, I've never sat down and watched it. So
Um, maybe earlier on, I don't know. I'm just going based off nostalgic purposes also. I guess Resident Evil. I mean, even though they weren't really too much off the game as they should have been,
oh yeah, yeah, that's
they're
another one.
pretty
Yeah,
interesting stuff.
yeah, those are some fun movies, and I mean, I'm not a big video game guy, especially with like we talked earlier. But yeah, I forgot about the Resident Evil movies, especially the first three, the first two or three. Yeah, those are fun. Yeah,
Yeah, back when I was like younger, I didn't know they were based off a game. I just like, oh, this is some zombie movies.
yeah,
But then knowing about the whole games and whatever, I mean, I say the recent video game like movie adaptation is actually the new Resident Evil movie. Like they try to lean more towards the game actually.
yeah. What is that? That's gonna be at Netflix, isn't it? Netflix original,
No, I think it released in the movies.
is it?
Yeah,
I know it's gonna be different
right.
without Mila
Well,
Djokovic in there, but
because I know they're still gonna plan on making like animated 3D films, whatever. But there's uh the live action. Probably some of the character like the acting choices. I haven't seen the movie, but I some of the acting choices is pretty iffy. I don't know
yeah,
if like they're the right call for the right actors to get on.
yeah. That's one thing that kind of turned me off about it was some of the actors are like, it's a sci-fi original movie.
Like Robbie and Mills in that movie,
Oh, is that a Stephen Mills brother?
his brother or cousin. Yeah, but that guy's mainly known for like doing whatever romantic teenage movies. He plays the same character in every single movie.
That's funny.
Um, but yeah, I guess that was like the final question or whatever. Like the video game was and Max Payne was your answer, and I guess Resident Evil was my answer.
Yeah, man, that was a tough question, man. I was over here sweating bullets for that one.
Um,
So
yeah, we're getting closer to the ending mark. I mean, it'd be cool to go on for 3 hours, but now my phone. I mean, I'm streaming on my phone. My battery can't really go on for that long.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And it was fun. Hopefully we can do it again, or now that I've been able to get on this stream, I wouldn't mind showing up or helping out on a Friday the 14th. I'd do whatever you guys need me to do. That sounds pretty fun. Hopefully we can do it again.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to get you on. Because I mean, the Ginger Dead Man was yesterday was that was like our first ever guest. Even though he's part of the channel, he's part of like the team, whatever. But it was still like our first because we had guests before, but they were I wouldn't count them because they're more like plus ones because there
Right,
was like
right, yeah.
Manny and his fiance or like he had Franco Alfredo and his wife.
Some special guests.
I mean, so I really don't count those as actual guests. I just consider them plus ones. So yeah, I wouldn't mind having you on. I have like my last guest from the EmoséwA Live, I plan on having him next year. Join off for Friday 14.
Nice. Yeah.
Just, de-
Fine.
just depends on what movie you want to review.
Hey, I'm sure we'll get together after this, and I'm down to look for anything or find anything or watch anything. So it should be fun.
Awesome. We'll probably make like a group chat discussing whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I'm down to watch anything. I always have that Shrek philosophy. I say I'll try anything once for sure.
Is that what he says?
I think so.
It's like I don't remember that quote at all. I just remember that'll do donkey. Not bad.
Yeah, that'll do.
um yeah, I guess that's the end of the stream. This is the part where you kind of plug stuff in. Uh, it's this is the funny part because normally when we do shout outs or like we try to plug stuff in, we shout you out, but I feel like I had to give you the honors to shout yourself out. I mean, even though the whole stream was you plugging in your own thing, I guess for one
um,
final time.
yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to check out some of the social media stuff, like I said, we do some girthy giveaways. The Facebook is just facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Instagram is just Cine-Men Movie Podcast, and then the Twitter is at Cine-Men405. So we have episodes every Monday night, 9 p.m. We talk about all different kinds of movies. Just kind of like how you guys do on Friday the 14th. So yeah, I don't think if I had to pick, if I had to say one thing though, like 2020 took a kind of a backseat for me as far as like it did really good for me on the downloads, but as far as live things go, I wanted to always like go to my sponsors and do something in person, whether it be recorded episode in person or do something in person. COVID kind of like set that back. So if I had any goals, we're going to a podcast convention next year in Iowa in October. So I would like to do more stuff like that. Like if I always feel like even if this is a hobby, you should always still have goals for your hobbies. So that would be my goal for us and podcasting next year. What about you? If you had to pick a goal, man, what would you pick?
Go.
Yeah.
Whew. Normally I don't get asked these questions, so
My bad, man. My bad.
I mean, it's a good question nonetheless. I mean, um, how to go? I mean, just to put out good content. I don't know. Hopefully I can just goal wise. I mean, subscribers. I mean, it's always cool getting more followers. I mean, usually it's like it shouldn't be about the numbers at all. I mean, do what you do and have fun.
Oh yeah.
But I
Because
mean,
if you're not enjoying it, man, why are we doing this? But yeah, that's good, man. You gotta enjoy what you do.
yeah. Like hearing you shout yourself out, that was I don't know, it's pretty cool hearing. I mean, sure you're probably used to doing it yourself. It's that like I said, like whenever Fuentes does most of the shouting out, and every time it's in my court, I feel like I butcher all the time. Like, oh, I should probably have it like written down like note wise, and I don't know how to promote things, to be honest. I'm very awkward at promoting.
You had said something about tell everybody one thing that you didn't know about us. I don't know if you still want to do that.
Um, yeah, we can do that. I kind of
Uh,
flew over my head, but I mean,
my bad. And I know your battery's going, but I just wanted to say like one thing that because you mentioned something about promoting, and a lot of people may not really know this about me, but I used to help behind the scenes at a local independent wrestling show here in Oklahoma City, and I would like just go around and just try to help promote as much as I can, and you know they would run small shows outside of a high school here, and so yeah, wrestling is like I said, you guys do the podcast and it's fun, and but yeah, that's one small little thing that a lot of people don't know about me is when I was in high school, I had a free job. I'd work for free, help setting up rings, video camera, cleaning up stuff, making hot dogs for the fans and stuff like that. So That's
that's
where a lot of my promoting skills came in. If I had any, they're not very good, but that's who taught me some of my stuff.
that's one hell of a way to close out. um, at this point, I really I feel like I do enough promoting myself, like the channel enough. Like I don't really want to close out anymore. Of if you're on the channel, just check out whatever's here. There's plenty of content that's already out there. I mean, I already mentioned like in the stream that we're gonna do Krampus, so I mean that'd probably be the only thing I um shout out or mention, and just follow Juan in the Similar Movie podcast just another time. But anyways, thanks for the people that tune into this. Um, I usually like to say like for the audio listeners, but this is not gonna be on a podcast platform. Maybe sometime in the future, depending on if Alfredo wants to upload that. But as of right now, I just give him the break he deserves.
He's got a lot of noodles on his plate.
Yeah. But I mean, it was really great having you on. Hopefully, see you again on a Friday the 14th. This has been EmoséwA Live. Remember, folks, always ban the bad guy. I think we got